Oh, you don't have Scituate job or not?
No, he's there.
You're all set. You're all set. Have a good meeting.
There he is. Thanks, Seth.
You got it.
Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, October 24th. It is 6:30 PM, and this is the select board meeting in Scituate. And I'd like to make a motion to convene the meeting, and do I have a motion to accept the agenda? So moved. Moved by Mrs. Conley, second by Mrs. Goodrich. All in favor? Aye. I'm also going to read our statement of diversity and inclusion that we'd like to read every beginning of the meeting. The Citrus Select Board is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcomed and respected. We ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. Just a couple of notes. Mr. Boudreau, Jim will be joining us later this evening. He had a conflict for the early part of this meeting, so he will be coming along a little bit later. And before I get to walk-in, I do want to recognize one of our employees. We have one of our most dedicated employees here this evening, Nancy Bolt, celebrating 10 years. So we have a lovely certificate of appreciation for you, Pam, in recognition of 10 years of dedicated service to the town of Scituate. It should say a lot more than that, honestly, in my opinion, but can't thank you enough. Thanks very much for us. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you. Congratulations, 10 years, that went quite fast. Do you think it did? It's just their first. Well played. And so before we move on, are there any walk-ins here this evening? I don't see any. So we will move to the report of the town administrator, which we're going to turn to Kevin Caffrey for a moment to give us some updates.
Simple traffic update, here or there.
You can do whatever you'd like, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so as everybody knows, we've been working on Front Street. Been very exciting, very calm, and things are working out. Our original email we sent back on the 12th, we are actually sticking to the schedule. The latest is we will be paving on the 26th. So we have 2 paving crews that are set up to start at Jericho and Beaver Dam. They're going to start side by side and work their way all the way down. The section right there in the red, all the way down Front Street as they're going down. This is a moving detour as it goes. We'll have signs up. We will have police, we will have DPW, and we'll be directing people where to go as we move along with the asphalt. The contractor was originally saying that one crew might take a couple days, and what we're worried about is that we wouldn't make Halloween, because he said it might not happen until Monday or Tuesday. So we pushed the contractor as hard as we could. He's agreed to bring up 2 crews and start work on Thursday. So we're very excited about that. That's our plan. Things can change, but right now that's where it is. So our fingers are crossed. We'll be detouring all traffic during the paving operation. So we ask people to be patient. It's a construction work zone and speeds must be reduced for workers and road safety. It's a moving operation, so the detours will change as the progression moves forward. As I said, police details, DPW employees will be there to help people get through. Use caution when you're driving down there or walking across the roadway. The asphalt comes out of the hopper of the truck, probably about 280 to 300 degrees. So it needs time to set up. A lot of people say it's down and they either try to walk across or drive over it, and you can damage your tires as well as your shoes. So we will have people there telling people not to walk on it, but still people sometimes have the idea to go across it.
Should we also recommend when you send an email out that, dog walkers take extra precaution because
We'd catch one either side when they came down, and what's been happening is they've been wanting them as they come across. And as I said, if the paving goes, everything goes according to plan like we've been pushing for. We're gonna try to strike the road Sunday night, and we'll be in good shape for Halloween. So that's where we are, our fingers are crossed, and we're pushing as hard as we can to make it happen.
So just for clarification, 2 crews on the 26th, the expectation that it's all gonna be completed on the 26th?
Fingers crossed. It could go into the 27th, but
Coming
we're
in
hoping
early at like 7 a.m., early?
they'll be starting right at 7.
7 a.m., okay. Okay, that's great. It's nice to take all that into consideration to get it done before the weekend too. And it looks like weather's gonna be on your side.
Weather's on our side, and as I said, we're trying to get it all done in one day instead of taking 2 days. So it'll be a little more difficult on Thursday, but it beats having the whole road shut down Thursday and Friday.
And are you gonna send out another email? to
Yep,
the-
we've been doing updates every other day and trying to keep it up for everybody. And this is posted on our website, and it's been posted, and some of the guys out there have actually had copies that they've given out to people as they go.
Okay.
So,
Any questions?
I just have to say, communication, a few businesses, and you always get all the bad news. I've got 4 or 5 good news, folks coming in. We're always talking. Keep up the great communication, even if you businesses that I've talked to, it's that you guys came in and they really appreciated having that.
I went to
face-to-face.
probably 85% of the business there myself, just before we started, on the 12th, and made sure everybody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So, we're doing the best we can with it, but it's, you know,
Hard.
it's a hard schedule inside getting across country. And just so everybody knows, we scheduled this over a year ago for this week, because obviously if we just put it in the queue, they would have come in during Heritage Days of July 4th to pay it, so we pushed it out to the end of the season as much as we could. Okay,
All right.
Thank
That
you.
concludes your report?
that's, I was just gonna do a traffic update.
That's great.
Thank you.
Sounds good, thanks, Kevin. So we are very early, because this says public hearing for the tax classification, so we have to wait for Joe, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the next 2 agenda items ready to go.
Okay, so the next agenda item is to approve the bartender, Sassy Lady Cocktails. Jubilee?
Yes,
Hi, just your name and your address, for the record.
sure. Jubilee Parkway, 80 Mill Street from Ann Arbor, Mass.
Actually, no. So welcome, so tell us a little bit about your business. I understand, you're being hired for an event at the GAR Hall.
Yes, so I started about 3 years ago. During the day, I'm a teacher, and so for the summertime, I didn't want to teach again during the summer, so I decided to hang out with adults instead and started bartending. And so I bartended for down in the Seaport for a catering company called East Meets West. It's the I think it's called the EEC, but it was the Exchange Center right on the harbor. Just a wonderful experience. I was there for 2 summers. And then I decided to get all my licenses, insurances, and some other licenses to the state. And just branch off on my own because there was a need for bartenders, and I did private parties for friends at the beginning, and then it just kind of took off from there. So I had the opportunity at IOG personally, so she had said they were in need, so she reached out. I had all of my paperwork and some of the experience, so I'm here tonight, and hopefully you can take a look at all that and I can be on that list.
Sounds great, and I see that you've taken the tip certification as well.
Yes.
You have certified, that's great. You have your insurance in line. And Michelle, is this to be permanently placed on our list of approved
Yes.
questions? You're good?
No,
Yeah.
everything's in order. Yeah, good recommendations, all.
Then, any question for us? No? Then do you have a motion?
We have 2 motions, Madam Chair. I'll get them together, if that's all right.
That sounds good.
Move to approve Sassy Lady Cocktail as a vendor for our pre-approved listing of caterer and bartenders, and move to approve a 1-day wine malt permit for Sassy Lady Cocktails at the Historical Society event at GAR Hall on November 4th, 2023, from 3 to 5 p.m.
Motion from Mrs. Campbell, second by Mrs. Connolly. All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business venture. Okay, I see Rich Lenahan. You want to come on up? I know you're here also to talk about the expansion of the indoor entertainment license at TK's.
Yes.
Is anybody else joining you? Did you want to come up as well? No? You're not that scary.
Can I go over there?
So Rich, tell us a little bit about what you want to change.
Right now, the current license says it's Thursday through Sunday, but when there's a holiday, for instance, Thanksgiving Eve or St. Patrick's Day, we want to be able to have entertainment on those days. Well, so we're going to expand it from the Wednesday to the Monday, the same hour. Principles, so it's already.
Okay. And it's still for up to a 4-piece band indoors, and this is all indoors.
Yes, all you
Yes.
can see.
I mean, I don't know of any complaints from any of the indoor, music. Does anybody else have questions? Any concerns? No? Okay, so just so everyone knows, so, Rich is looking to expand his indoor entertainment license, all the way from Sunday to Saturday, from 12 noon to 12,
Well, Monday to Sunday. I was
it's the same, it's
Okay.
it's basically the same thing, it's just Sunday to Saturday,
Okay.
so you're covered.
Okay.
It's the whole week.
Thank you.
Oh, it's every day. It's confusing. Okay, if there aren't any other additional questions, somebody want to make a motion?
Move to amend the existing Lost Week Inc. Doing business as TPO Knowledge Sports Cafe indoor entertainment license to Sunday to Saturdays from 12 p.m. noon until 12 a.m. midnight for up to 4 pieces in the band, vocals and instruments, amplified DJ and equipment, karaoke and jukebox. Jukebox may be played during restaurant hours.
Sorry.
Motion by Mr. Gooders, second by Ms. Harrison, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go,
Great.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Hope you have a successful
Yes.
holiday celebration.
So far,
moving
we
forward.
Have a good night.
Okay, you too, Rich, thanks for coming in. All right, well, maybe it's for you.
I think should have. Hi. We are.
I know, it's yeah. So Michelle and Jen are here for the record to talk about the Scituate Maritime Center fees, and potentially increasing them. So I know the three of you, including Lorraine, have all been working on this, so we'll let you summarize your findings.
Yeah, very good, thank you. So we're here today, as you said, to talk about fees. The last time we've increased fees was 2014. It's been quite a while. This year, this season alone, and this was Jen's first season, so I want to thank her. She did a fantastic job doing 90 events. That's 6 months. So it's a lot of work dealing with a lot of people, explaining, how the function space works, scheduling doors, your line app, so a lot of work. And it went off without a hitch, did a great job. But one of the things that really started us to think about increasing fees was there was about 5 events where they disobeyed the rules a little bit and the $100 security deposit was not sufficient. Our cleaner had to charge double. We had, they had help, call in the harbor master. We had a few, I'm not gonna call them ragers, but, left a lot of trash behind, a lot of issues. So we started thinking it's really, become very popular and we need to compete with some of the other neighboring facilities. So you do have a list in there. Jen put together a function hall comparison, and you can see that we're pretty low compared to some of the other neighboring. The Cohasset Lighthouse Keepers, Sailing Club, Cushing Hall in Norwell, Clifford Hall in Duxbury, and Daniel Webster Estate in Marshall. So looking at that, we felt pretty confident that it's time to raise our rates. We're not recommending, a huge rate. We're recommending a $200 security deposit from $100, an increase for residents from $450 to $500. That's a pretty modest increase. And for non-residents, $600 to $700. But open for discussion, but that's sort of where we, in looking at our analysis, we thought that was fair. And then we also included in your packet just wanted to point out that we have a lot of capital plan projects coming down the pike. You know, we always do, you know, touch-ups every year, but we're looking into replacing the floor, an EV system, actual doors, both front door and I believe the
Roof.
slider door. There's ongoing roof maintenance. So, you know, a lot of repairs down the line. So we're thinking this is a good time to have some coverings.
So question, when you had to do those additional cleaning services, do you hold the security deposit and don't give it back?
We kept the 100 but it really wasn't enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough to really cover what we needed. So the 200 will cover a double cleaning if she charges us to. So we thought that was fair.
And Nancy, does this all go into a revolving fund?
Yes, is it dedicated maritime central revolving fund?
And what's that balance these days?
It's a little over 200,000, but it's $100,000 on the capital plan. Come out of it for repairs and maintenance.
Yeah, we do have a sheet in there. Yep, 218 and the proposed FY25 capitals, 108,000.
I have a question to piggyback on that. The 5 instances where it was over $100, were you able to recoup money after that? Do we have something in our rental agreement that we could then go and ask them for? If it costs $300, then they owe us $200 more or $100?
We don't. We have a security deposit and we just withheld that 100, so they don't get a refund.
Okay.
But we don't have anything in our agreement that says, you know, should you incur, you know, additional costs, we're gonna invoice you. I'm not sure. I guess that's probably a question for legal.
Yeah, I think we should think
We
about
can up
asking
the-
council that, because what if it, I mean, you said it wasn't a rager, what if it was a rager and the deck's destroyed or something larger? We might want to have something covered in our rental agreement. I would think.
I can check with
I mean, this is
council.
outside of this
Yeah,
conversation.
we can take a look at it,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think it's a good call out to look at, to see what kind of recourse we have paying. I don't know, I don't know.
Right, we have to put that alongside what our insurance protects us and whatnot, it's a different conversation.
Right, it is quite, it's a deeper conversation, but we're looking at other rental agreements that we have across town. We might want to also.
So that one.
Yeah, it's true. We haven't had damage, like anything significant damage, like you said, if someone was,
Right.
you know, fight.
Yeah.
It's usually been excessively,
Really messy,
Yeah.
people not putting away the tables and chairs, leaving trash, food, that then
Yeah.
draws ants.
ants, things like that. I mean,
Are they then not allowed to rent again? Are they, if they?
we know who they are, so certainly should. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're all non-residents.
Put
So,
out
well,
on the
that's
news,
a good
you can
point,
put out the
yes.
news updates
Oh,
on
really?
it.
The residents care a little bit more about this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Andrew?
I was trying to get the percentage, which is.
Tell me to come back to
Please.
Eric.
Yes, I'd actually like to have council look into what kind of bill we could bill them. If there's excessive
Right.
cleaning, excessive or breaking chairs or whatever, that, you know, that they, as part of the agreement, that we would present them with a bill. Because frankly, $100 or even $200 is kind of like, just walk away. It's like, I'd rather have someone else clean it up. I mean,
Probably doesn't even cover the cleaning service.
it probably doesn't. So, you know, I would think that if they want their deposit back, that they would leave it very clean. And if they don't care about it, 100 isn't gonna dissuade them, so. I did notice that it is Cushing Memorial, that they don't require a security deposit, but they do require payment in full. So I think we should look at some sort of way to recoup whatever above and beyond a normal security deposit, should that be necessary.
So would you think possibly a cleaning fee plus a security deposit?
I don't know, I guess we could look at it, but like I said, I don't think that $100 security deposit is gonna, or even 200 is what I should say, is enough of a deterrent for most people. Just walk away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else? Karen?
Do you, in the, all the rentals, do you have a breakdown of how many of this year were residents versus?
Yep,
We do?
yep, 67 were residents, 23 non.
So we've seen that in the beach, all of the youths that are, as our population grows, obviously making preference to our folks, so I like the structure of it. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to raising the non-resident fee more, because it would tilt the desirability of that space toward our residents, so. Thank you for doing all the work you did. And then the form of deposit, do you just take a credit card, or do they actually have to?
It's actually a check. They have to deposit.
Okay. Yeah, so you don't deposit the check unless.
No, we do.
You deposit, so they get the refund on the necessary, okay. I was just wondering, because like, along the same lines is debating whether to put up a higher deposit. If it's real cash coming out and going in, that's punitive to some folks. So, I think your recommendation is really strong. I might want to consider, increasing what you said.
Yeah, we talked about that. You know, these were just suggestions, but yeah, we were talking about 800 at one point.
But when you look at all the other town rentals, all the non-residents are twice
Yeah,
the
right.
resident, and you just sat before us and said that it's the non-residents that are more likely to, treated with care, so.
Right, and one thing to keep in mind too, like Cohasset lighthouse keepers, they can charge a lot more, they offer more too, they have tables, chairs, and they do have a kitchen. So that was something that we kept in mind too, that we are a pretty small venue. You know, we can't compete with certainly Duxbury. The venue, I haven't been there.
Yes.
But we are probably most similar to the Founders Hall in Cohasset at the
Yeah.
Sailing Club.
Yeah.
And their non-resident rate is almost double the other, so.
And it's, I'm sorry, about 20% was non-resident?
Right, you have.
Oh, for the number of people that rented? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. If you-
Yeah, 23 non-resident, 67 residents.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry.
Yeah, for 2020.
I still think it's very desirable. I would recommend that we up that to 800 non-residents.
It's a non-resident,
Yeah,
and the deposit stay at
I think the deposit would stay that, if you were comfortable with that number, yeah.
200.
Well, they're proposing that the resident is $450, so do you want to double it or just keep it at 800?
The resident right now is 450,
Yeah,
and we're
right.
proposing 500,
Okay,
and
yeah.
the non-resident is currently 600. And we're proposing 700 and now 800.
So what I'd like to see is, you can make the deposit, whatever you, security, whatever you want, but in the contract it says, and anything above and beyond the security deposit, we will be subject to a bill. I mean,
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah, we'll have to check, and if it's not in there,
It might say.
It might say
carbon
something like-
fiber damage. I can go grab it right now, or we can.
No, it's okay, yeah, we're good. Well, so it's just something for you guys to look at.
Yeah.
Sure.
but for now, you'd like the 200 for security?
Andrew?
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, it's the difficulty of cutting the check, if you were able to do a point of sale with a credit card. I mean, if you go to a hotel, it's $300, it doesn't, I mean, so you go 250, it doesn't really matter. Because you're gonna get it right back. So I'm fine with going to 200. It's difficult. Depositing, cutting checks, getting it back, it seems like a nightmare.
A lot.
It is, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly comfortable with that. I mean, we're looking for, 11% on the resident side. And now we're looking at close to 40% going to 800. We still wanna. Are you adding 100, you're only adding about $2,300 to the bottom line. So over 23.
So what do you recommend?
No, I don't wanna make it prohibitive either. but we don't have to
No,
always use it.
I don't think it would be, if it goes to 800 for non-resident.
And then, potentially open spots at Florida, which
Yeah.
is really what my thought is.
Right.
that They should be first in line anyway. And if we lose a couple of out of towners in favor of residents, fine with that. I mean, the growth in the revenue is extraordinary.
Oh, very popular.
That view is worth way more than
Okay. And
Ann Burbine, 10 Pancras Road. $200 in today's market is nothing. And it's far easier to walk away from 200 than it would be for a security deposit of $500 that would be refundable. If you put something in your agreement that you will charge them out for any damage, if it's somebody from out of town, you will never see them again. It will be a very, very difficult item to collect. I would suggest that you go with $500 that would be incrementally refunded after cleaning or whatever. And leave the rest of it alone. Charge whatever you want for the rental, but a $500 security deposit that will be refunded less whatever maintenance they have to do.
no, I'm not, I don't disagree that it needs to be high.
You have to,
All right, so let's move to play to go,
pay play.
right, let's just go down, so we make the motion that we say some offense. So I'm hearing that, we want to increase this. So first, let's talk about the security deposit. Currently, it's at 100, postal is at 200, they're hearing it should be much higher. What is the appetite of the board for this security deposit? More than 200.
I don't disagree with him's argument. The problem is form of payment. So, we have an affordable, beautiful space available for our residents. We want to cover our costs, we don't want to lose money, we're not going to do that. We want to incentivize people to take care of it. And so far, evidence is the residents do that. What concerns me is if you have to write a check for the same amount as the rental. And you might get it back, you might not get it back. That's gonna change who rents that, who's gonna feel comfortable renting that space. And so it's going to disproportionately affect folks without as many resources. And it's a town building that should be accessible to everyone. I think we need to do some homework on what our recourse is under our insurance, what we should get to people, but if we can't do, you write a check for $500 and they have to cash that, it's out of your bank until it eventually gets back to you, and we don't move that fast, just because we're government. That's where I agree with the argument, but I'm a little concerned. How to get stuff.
So there's no chance of us switching to a credit card payment?
Or a number that you don't charge again.
What about the idea of doing a separate security deposit for residents versus non-residents? That could also be an option.
We have evidence necessary.
So we just do a resident, non-resident fee structure.
Yeah.
Any attorneys know if that's legal?
I'm sorry?
That's a good idea. I mean, that addresses the problem.
Right. Okay,
I wonder if we run I don't know if there's any, I think council might have to apply to that, I know you can.
why would they have to opine on that if having 2 rental fees is legal? Like, why would that apply differently to it?
Well, rental fees, because the facility paid for that person.
No, like today, we have 2 different rental fee rates. We have one for out of town, and one for residents.
The argument that applies to this.
Oh, right. All right,
I just make note of the whole yard.
yeah, it's okay, you just can't be earlier.
You can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay on the.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
sure. You guys are having a conversation, where's the name? All right, so do we want to just adjust the non-resident rental fee right now to a proposal that somebody will have to make that was higher than $700 or $800. Do we want to just adjust that, or do we also want to implement a second security deposit rate chart for out-of-town residents that is higher than the 200? Or do you want to leave that alone for now? Thoughts, Andrew? You think about
I'm happy with 250
Residents.
for
Non-resident.
non-residents, 200 for residents, 250 till we can get, so what, yeah, we get the credit card, I'm happy to go higher. Because that would just make more, it's just easy.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Is somebody ready to make a motion? So this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing resident rental fee increase to 500 from the current rate of 450. Resident security deposit to increase to 200 from a current rate of 100. Non-resident rental fee to increase to 800 from a current rate of 600. And the non-resident deposit to increase to 250 from the current 100.
So moved.
That's right.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
So, did you get that, Michelle?
I do. Thank you very much.
And the homework is the credit card and lawyer looking at.
Right.
And our council looking at.
Right. But I'm gonna amend this because this also needs to be effective November 1st, 2023.
As amended.
Thank you.
So if their contracts currently out there won't affect them.
Right.
Right, we are not accepting Get Smart this year. We weren't going to start accepting for next year until after November 1st, because it's this popular that people are calling,
It's not going.
Yeah.
people are calling for 2025. And we're- yeah.
And we should, yeah, okay,
So, yes, thank you.
okay, great.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thanks for all that analysis. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So we will move back to the public hearing, which is our annual tax classification hearing. This is for fiscal year 24. We have Steve Guard from the Board of Assessors and Joe Lupito, our assessor. Welcome, good to see you as
Well, it's nice to see everyone.
well.
So in your packet, this, as you already know, that this is the Indian tax classification hearing. We're here today to decide, or you are here to decide whether or not we have a single tax rate, residential and commercial, as opposed to a split rate, where we have two different rates. So the 2 pages in your handout that I'll ask you to refer to are the 2 pages that I'm going to just highlight for you so I can summarize what basically the document is talking about. The first page that I'm going to use is the fiscal year 2024 shift scenario. And then the second page is the town comparison. Those are the 2 pages that I like the most when I come up and do this presentation of behalf of the Board of Assessors. So as you can see, the Board of Assessors, I should say that, the Board of Assessors voted unanimously to recommend to the Board, the Select Board, that a single rate be voted upon and approved this year as well. If you look at the town comparison page first, you can see the 9 surrounding towns on the South Shore all have a single tax rate. The most significant item on this, you look at the commercial percentage, we are second to last in the commercial percentage, only to Duxbury, who is first place with 3%. So we only have a 4% commercial tax base. 96% of our tax base is residential.
And that has not moved.
And it has not moved since I've been
At
doing
least
this.
20 years.
Yeah.
Well, since I've been up here too.
It hasn't moved since I've been doing this, which is longer than I like to admit. So, on the fiscal, so then I shift over to the fiscal year shift scenarios. This is telling on how we would shift the tax burden from the residential tax base to the commercial tax base and how it may affect those, our taxpayers. So the first scenario you can see in bold, the average assessment for residential is $2,567. So if you look to the right where it says this is a 10% shift is the first scenario. And that 10% shift would save the residential taxpayer, the average residential taxpayer, $36. If you go down to the commercial section where it's bold, it says the average tax assessment is about $1.1 million, which give or take $3. If you go over to that same column that has the $36 in it, you come down there, you'll see that 10% shift will result in an $1,138 shift to the commercial taxpayer for the year. Now, jump all the way ahead, we have a 25% scenario, 50% scenario tax shift. You can see that if the comparison at the average residential tax at 50%, which would be $179 savings and a $5,691 shift to the commercial tax. So we've always taken the position that these numbers don't make sense. We're a small community with basically small businesses, don't have, dirty streets and Hanover crossings and things like that, where even they still have single tax rates. So the Board of Assessors unanimously voted to recommend that Board of Selectmen choose the single tax rate again this year. That's really the nutshell of the package you have.
Well summarized. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah, no, it's pretty clear cut.
But this is, the two things that we look at are really the guts of it. Everything else, we can go through, we can talk about the average assessments and the number of units and all that stuff, but this is what it boils down to, right here. This is how it affects our taxpayers. This is what other towns are doing, and this is where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been very sensitive to the small business owners, and we want to attract as many more possible as we can,
Yeah.
shift more of the burden to them.
Our taxpayers, I mean, the tax, we are getting some pretty, valuable development in town, but we cannot classify the residential condominiums or the residential apartments as commercial, because it's by statute, it's residential, even though there are apartment complexes owned by companies that rent things out.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if we saw that change, we would begin to start looking at it and go, well, wait, you should have a second rate, but we can't. Because it would be, and essentially, the tax.
They would pass it on.
It makes sense because they're passing it on to residents in a residential scenario, so it's not like we could tax the commercial entity that owns the place. It's gonna end up trickling down to people that pay for it. It doesn't make sense.
I've asked this years before, and I still haven't seen the analysis. The argument to go to a split rate, but if we always do this, but we're increasing commercial rate, what if we lower it? It's not an option.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the, is that all just, I guess I'm curious about, more for just the academic value to know. I know it's a state.
Yeah.
It's a state mandate.
Yeah.
The minimum residential factor is 1.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go.
Because I'm trying to understand a better sense of every new list that, right, just sitting up here doing this. What that value is for us, every time we go through this other big list. And it's not as clear, precisely what those value, who's the residential, which one is commercial.
So are you asking just to look at just to understand the impact on the commercial?
Yeah, I understand what we can do and can't do, with state law, but just understanding how the bond rates impact. It's gonna help, I think it's just gonna help us long-term understand, and bring in more businesses. The value of that, does that make sense?
Well, doesn't the sheet do that? If this sheet has scenarios that would impact the businesses coming in if we decided on a split rate. We can't go, the state requires a factor of 1, can't have a factor of 0.5.
Yeah, we don't have to settle, we don't have to litigate this now,
Yeah.
just. I would love even more, detail and talk about this.
Yeah,
Well,
we can tell Joe exactly what you're asking for.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. Just talk to Joe separately offline, and maybe there's some way we can explain it better, but I don't see what would, if you want, I'm not sure I understand, you want us to quantify what a business would see when they come in as far as the tax liability goes? I mean, they know that coming in, they can look at our records and see what that particular property would cost them in taxes. It's the same as if it was residential.
We'll talk about this.
Any other questions, Karen?
I was just, thank you so much for talking. Given that we have this astounding average value of almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Just a whole nother conversation. I was just curious on our biggest tax payers in town. 2 of them actually declined in value.
Yeah.
Like, how, given the world as it is did that happen?
Interest rates.
So interest rates,
Yeah.
no jokes,
No, I'm sorry. No, interest rates affect capitalization rates, and we primarily rely on the income approach for commercial and income producing properties. So that's the reason.
Okay, thank you.
there's no comparable comp, so we use the income approach, which if they're paying more in expenses because of interest rates, which they are, then their values will go down.
That's interesting. Okay, thank you. At least clarify that.
Good news, the tax rate did go down, but you're right to point out, the values are high. When I started doing this, I think the average home value is 4%.
Oh,
It's
so that's
been
very
really
recent.
gone.
I thought it was a lot higher than that.
No, yeah,
Yeah, I started with 580.
yeah, I think so. It might have been in the high threes.
Oh, you said when you started.
When I started.
Oh, I
doing
thought-
this. No, when I started. doing
Right
this,
now, I'm like, what?
No,
Where are you with this, Steve?
no,
Want to be on your street.
yeah, no, you don't.
Not this year.
Not this year.
I know.
Yeah.
That's just Steve, you know.
Not this year.
Okay, Karen, do you have any questions for them?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Susan, do you
I
have
had
any
just
additional-
one question. It was only the same question on the River Chase Apartments,
Okay,
but thank you for answering.
all right. And anything additional? Thank you for that. So, all right. Do we have a motion?
Move that the select board vote to approve residential factor according to Mass General Law, Chapter D, Section 1A.
Moved by Mrs. Canfield, second by Mrs. Connolly, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Thank you.
you for all the work.
I would like to say that I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony the other day for the marina. I thought Andrew did a very nice job. It was very well attended. The lieutenant governor must have been very impressed.
I heard she was.
I thought it was a very splendid,
Thank you
well
for saying
deserved,
that.
well deserved for the efforts that were put in.
It looks good.
Came out and beat.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I was there and I'd like to say that one of the best things about it, frankly, was the attention to the disabilities.
Me too.
Yeah.
The Commission of Disabilities Executive Director was here, and so, you know, we're kind of leading the way in that respect, so.
I liked the person who got the ribbon, Eric Donovan was there, his wheelchair as well. I talked
Oh,
to him
that's
about it.
awesome, was it? Oh, good.
Yeah, he has buddies that put him into the boat and stuff, and this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Well, thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Carol.
you. Thank
Have a
you.
great night. Bye.
You too.
Okey doke. Kevin, are you still here, Kevin? I don't know if you walked out. So we have some contracts from Kevin. See, the first one we have on our list is the disposal of construction debris at the transfer station.
So if there was over 1 ton at the Maritime Center, it will cost $140 as opposed to our costs. The costs have gone up. We've been working, the company that we had been working with, Mineral Recycling, has been bought by a much larger company, Green Waste. So they did raise the rates on us $5 per ton, and we expect the rates to be going up in the future. There's a sodium bid going out in Scituate recycling, so we're kind of waiting and hedging to see where that goes. We're gonna be contacted. Hopefully, we can get better rates with a lot of the other cities and towns in the area and such. But for now, we're looking to put in a contract not to exceed $100,000, so we can continue operations of the transfer station.
So you don't have to bid this out, you're just,
It's trash disposal, so no, we're able to keep it safe.
okay, all right. And how long is this contract for?
That's what had an upset limit of 100,000,
The home with $100,000, that's 6-7 months.
approximately.
Oh,
Okay.
6 to 7
And then
months.
that's when you-
Unless
that's
we came up with a better contract or something better, we would want on Scituate recycling.
All right, that's when you go out to that bid.
Yep.
So, okay. Questions on that one? No? All right, do you want to make a motion for this particular one?
Move that the select board award the contract for providing disposal of construction demolition debris to Wind Waste Innovations of $140 per ton. Contract amount not to exceed $100,000.
Do we need an effective date for that?
November 1st, I think the current contract we're in expires November.
Effective
Just
November.
November.
Effective November 1st, I can't say it, 2020.
Thank you. Moved by Mrs. Connolly, second by Mr. Goodrich. All those in favor? Righty.
Thank you.
The next one?
The second contract we have is Sean put out an RFP, advertised it. This is for repairs from Storm Riley. We get the approval for the engineering through FEMA. So it's 75% reimbursed through FEMA. So he is going to bid with an RFP. 38 packages were taken. We did only get one firm to respond to the RFP. That firm is the same firm that's been doing a lot of seawall work with us, PCA. The price of $88,000.
So is this one just temporary repairs until we, because Corey's coming in a few moments to talk about the Collins group who's doing a big analysis, right, for the entire thing. So this is just repairing.
This is repairing the
Previous
damage that
storm
occurred
damage.
during Riley.
Right,
Okay.
without being excessive, we need to at least show a response to making repairs, or if something happens in the future, they'll say, you didn't do anything last time, so. We went,
They
there was an
just have
alternative
excuses for us.
analysis, right? Yeah,
They just
you
have
know,
a list of
so-
excuses. All I say, okay. Sorry.
So we had a GTA doing alternatives, and they give us a couple of options, and that seems to fall, we did get some quotes, contractors, they all had little different ideas, so now we'll be able to put out, a spec that they can all bid on, apples for apples.
In which section is it, Sean?
It's right as you're looking at the new marina, in Cole Parkway, there
Okay.
are concrete sections all along, you have to look over the edge to see them, but the bases are starting to chip off.
Okay.
Picture. Oh,
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Andrew?
I don't,
Karen? No. Any Karen?
Any of them?
Any? No. All right, do we have a motion for the seawall engineering project?
Move that the select board award a seawall engineering design and permitting contract to GZA Geoenvironmental Inc. for $88,650.
Moved by Mrs. Connolly, second by Mrs. Canfield, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right. So we have we might be ahead of schedule here, 7:50. Do you have the beach commission here?
Not bad.
Yeah. So the timing of this a little. Just way ahead. Well, I don't think anything. Yeah, that's true. So there was 10 minutes there, that was it. All right, let's see where we can go. I mean, we can. And Nick's not here. Oh, let's do Nick.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey.
Come on up. Good timing. There's one again.
Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying so.
Yeah, we're streaming them.
Very good.
Talk about this one too. Well, but I think it's being presented by Nick and Mike and Shauna, right?
Yeah, Sean
Do we need to, create a commission on this? She can help me when she gets here. I guess.
Yeah.
Shauna, how are you? Good, you bet. Nice to see you. You too. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's get there with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so just for the record,
Yep.
name and address, and I know you folks have done a lot of analysis on the new stickers, so we want to talk about adjusting some of the fees.
Yes, Nick Lombardo, Recreation Director, 64 Edward Road, Moncton.
Jennifer Hart, Assistant Rec Director, 7 Milford Drive.
Congratulations, is that new?
Camera?
No, Vegas.
Assistant.
Yes, sorry.
Congratulations. Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to-
Mike Connor, 11 Linden Ave, Scituate, Mass, Recreation Commission.
So, yeah, basically, we decided to kind of bring all this together, but there was one main discussion point here, and that is the lifeguards. We have to go up substantially on the rates over these next couple of years because we are so low compared to all the surrounding towns. So we're losing guards left and right. There was a shortage this past year. We were short about 10 guards. We typically have around 34, 35. We were only able to get, I think, about 26 25, 26. And a handful of those were really only part-timers too, so it was really tough scheduling wise. And our lifeguard directors did what they could with scheduling. And the main reason I feel like that we're losing these guards or they're not staying here is because we're so low with the pay. And as you can see, I believe I sent everybody a list of what some of the other surrounding towns pay. We are the lowest, starting at minimum wage, so we did lose a good amount of the guards even after they had committed to us, which was tough. A few of them being head guards. So we're really looking to, as I said, up the rates over these next couple of years, somewhere between $5 and $6. I'm not saying that that jump is going to happen just this year, but over these next 2 years or so, just to get us back to where we really should be. So with that being said, we were hoping that we could come to an agreement on the raise of the resident sticker price from $35 to $50, which would help offset the cost of the raise. As you can see from the numbers, so I'd like to base it off the actual payroll from what we spent from FY23, because in that summer we had 36 guards. We were paying basically the same amount as we paid last summer. So that total spent was about $151,000. We estimated the FY25 payroll to be about $241,000, and that's based off a $5.50 increase. And increasing the stickers another $15 or so would bring in another $117,000. So we felt like there was a need there. And so, yeah, basically that explains that. But with everything else, we felt like it was the right time to discuss everything and bring it into discussion here. So the other things that we brought forward are here. We have the Mike, do you want to get into the non-resident?
Yeah, sure. We had a lot of talk about this, and it was brought up just sort of a grassroots thing, just sitting at the beach on the weekends. And you know, I didn't particularly pay to mind it. I just packed. You know, now we know that we sell a lot of, I think, 7,700 town stickers, and although we only sold 152 non-resident stickers, and again, I'm the exact numbers here, there's around 180 or so spots at Peggy, and I think around 100 at mine. Again, that's just those two beaches, which are the two that most packed on weekends. And if 50 out-of-town residents come on weekends, that's 50 spots out of 280, a lot, you know, so we just think that, but we know there's also revenue that's brought in from the out-of-town beach stickers. So we don't know, so the proposal that Nick's going to say in a second would be that we would keep the price the same for the out-of-town stickers, which was $300, but only do it Monday to Friday, don't do it on weekends. Again, it's a gamble, but I think you're still gonna sell it, you make it a different element for people, you may get parents who will stay at home and, you know, want to bring the kids to the beach during the week, you know? So it is a risk that we're not gonna get that revenue, but I think it's a risk that's worth taking. And again, I know that, you know, the proportion of out-of-town stickers and resident stickers you can't compare, but with the proportion of parking spots based upon resident stickers, I think it is relevant, and I think that it potentially could, you know, lessen the impact of. And again, it's probably 7 or 8 days where it's a perfect day, and you know, then if you have a day where it's high tide at mine, forget about it, you know. So again, Egypt and all the beaches are affected. So we think that what's best to get some revenue for the town, what's best for you know, to bring people to town for the businesses in you know, throughout the town, to maintain that would be this proposal where we're going to you know, keep the resident stickers only for weekends.
Yeah, so
There's some other proposal too.
yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah,
those.
so that's the general gist of it, but there's more particulars.
So for that one, the non-residents access, I guess, would go from a Monday through Sunday sticker and change to a Monday through Friday.
For the same price.
So the same.
So you're really not impacting the revenue at all.
Right.
And to add to the no weekends, it would also be no holidays, like Fourth of July,
Right.
Labor Day, is the busiest day to have down on the beaches.
And currently, right now, there's a day pass that can be purchased at the There,
Yeah.
at the Harbor Master.
Yep.
It's only Tuesday, Thursdays,
Yep.
so we were gonna say it could be Monday to Friday, but cap to 25.
Yeah, we feel like
If any beach.
why not give people more of an opportunity there?
And that was more so for if you have like a friend come down from there, right, and they want to, a beach pass, rather than drive back and forth to the beach 5 different times, they can just, I'll pay $25. Right.
So the day pass for currently is Tuesdays and Thursdays only, but we're proposing to change that to a Monday through Friday, $20 a day, but capped at 25 stickers sold total per day. Because there is an opportunity for more people to come to the beach during the week. There's parking. It's the weekends that are the issue, I guess.
Just to add on to what Nick said, it's Peggy Beach only Tuesday, Thursday, today pass. So we're saying Monday through Friday for all beaches, but capped at, 25 tickets a day.
Total.
Okay.
The other one is the commission would like to change the sticker violation fees and increase those from 50 to 100. Like everyone feels this is a no-brainer because we're noticing more and more cars just willing to pay that $50 fee for a day at the beach. I think there's been days that we counted 10 or 12 cars parked there with no stickers. So I feel like anything to help kind of gear them towards not coming here and doing that would be a big benefit to the town, especially people looking to go to the beach.
I have a question about that one,
Yeah.
is, doesn't that go into the police
It
fund?
would,
Like, doesn't come back over to
it'd
the,
be general fund revenue,
yeah,
it wouldn't benefit the beach.
Doesn't. yeah, that's what I'm thinking at all, but you're just recommending it from
For
the insurance.
parking
For
purposes,
parking
yeah, parking
deterrent
purposes,
aspect,
right, right.
So it's not factored in your overall
No.
mathematics to increase the revenue.
No, and that would be, I guess, so there's 5 types of stickers that this would affect. It's failure to display, misuse, sticker altered, copied, or unreadable, sticker does not match registration, and the 5th one is sticker not permanently affixed. So those are all $50 fines currently, so those, we're proposing to change to $100. That would be all those. The final one, 5th and final, would be the beach stickers to be valid only from Memorial Day and through Labor Day. And the reason being is because we can welcome more people outside of those months. I mean, the beaches aren't packed, so the parking lots are not full at all, so we're welcoming anyone from out of town or elsewhere to come into the beaches.
For free, or will they need to?
Yeah, it would be.
Free, essentially. But more so we were kind of gearing it towards a lot of the surfers that come to town, more so Peggy Beach, the off seasons there, the surf over there.
So where does it go now? Doesn't it go to October 1st? What is it? What's?
They're year round.
Year round.
Yeah,
You're supposed to have.
They're starting what, March 1st? Oh,
Think
yeah,
about
March all
first.
the way to the expiration.
So there would be no enforcement
Yeah,
after
but
those,
it's valid.
after those months.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Right, there's a lot to digest here.
There is.
Okay. All right, so let's take this sort of one-to-one. So when I did the math of what we take in today, it's $337,000 roughly based on last year, right? We have, if I looked at the backup that we provided with all the sticker revenue, did I get that right?
Yeah, in fiscal 23, we brought in $338,000.
Yeah. Okay, and we're proposing that raising the rates for the lifeguards brings us up to 241,000.
Yeah, yes, for FY 25.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
So we still have some balance there to cover us for other incidentals that we made in government improvements. So we're not in the hole yet on that aspect. So I'd like to talk about the residential piece first because just want to hear what the board feels. I know where I land on that, but I'd like to hear what other folks have to say. So I'll start wherever. Okay, Eric.
I actually like the idea of having a resident sticker from whatever date we select, June 1st to September 15th, whatever. Because I think one of the things as just a state, it's so difficult to give access to people to our beaches. because there's so many private, there's so many that are town-owned, where we're charging people not to go on the beach necessarily, but to park, which essentially, prevents them. So, I think just as a gesture to all of the citizens of the Commonwealth, if our beaches can be available to people on the off seasons, the shoulder season and the winter, obviously, I think it would be a very good public relations. So, and I know how much people care about their beaches, but I really think that they really care about them in the summer when they want to take the kids there and all that stuff.
So are you saying you like the Memorial to Labor Day?
I do.
Yeah. What about the rate, increasing the rate?
Well, we're just talking about, there would be no,
They have a rate increase, a sticker increase,
if the sticker's only valid between.
from 35 to 50, but it doesn't matter, right? You're looking, so for residents.
We're looking,
We're
yeah,
looking to
right,
increase
right.
it from 35 to 50
Right.
and make it only required from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Right, and that's really, like I
Yeah.
said, just to offset the cost of what we're gonna be potentially paying the lifeguards going forward.
Right.
But if we have more than enough in that, I think it's.
Okay, we can keep going. Okay, all right, so,
Yes,
so you're in favor of raising the fee?
yes.
Okay. Karen?
Just the fee component.
Yep.
We have to be competitive to keep our beaches safe.
Right.
Safety, you never wanna raise a fee if you don't have to for residents, but
Right.
residents deserve to have them properly covered. So if that will lead us to a competitive place where we can keep the beaches staffed, I'm in favor of raising it. Question about that?
Yeah.
We charge, is there, I can't remember if there's a cap on how many stickers per household.
Or?
Thank you, Pam.
It's a phone call.
Four per family.
Four per family, all the same rate,
Yeah.
which you guys obviously didn't look at, but I know I should capture that. I honestly don't think we should mess with it, because.
There's another chapel on this.
Yeah, there's enough, so yes. That's my feeling on the price, yes.
Okay, Andrew, residential price?
Sure, so all that considered, totally agree, we're losing, Taco Bell starts at $19 an hour. So, without getting someone jumping into cold water. I mean, beautiful water, come visit. And use beaches, save someone's life, seems low and difficult. That being said, there's a gazillion fees that the law was raised. Every dollar, so if you look at this, every dollar in the fee that you raise, you're looking at about $7,700. So if you raise it by only $5, you're looking at about $43,000. To try and mitigate that, because no, I mean, I'm always nervous about raising fees, but I also want to make sure that we need those folks. People supposed to be there, we need to be, not just other towns, but just other opportunities.
What's the last time we raised these? I don't remind me. I know you guys-
Not last year, but the year before. So we've been on like this 2-year process. So we stay level for 2 years and then go up about, I believe it's like 25 to 50%. So, but since COVID, it's
I mean, like,
gone up.
we charge us the fees now.
Oh, the fees.
Like 10 years.
Oh, it's been
Beach staff fees.
20, we're paying 20 years or 20 years. So it's been,
Spend at 35.
yeah,
Close the case.
right. So it's been a long time. For sure.
Susan?
So regarding, we're just talking about access, definitely, I think we should increase access to off season or shoulder season. The fees, I'm not clear on what we need. I guess like I would, if we're saying we need to increase $5.50 an hour. And I'd be okay with increasing from 35 to 50 if I was clear on that we needed that much money to cover the lifeguards. There's gotta be other expenses besides.
Well, that's my concern when I look at the intake, and I think we have to be very cognizant of everything that's before us as a town. We just raised sewer rates, we just raised water rates. We do not raise transfer station rates, those have been stable for a little bit. we've got big override coming up with the schools. We've got the water treatment plant, I mean, we have to look in totality at everything. So I'm in favor of the Memorial Day, Labor Day, that's fine, give everybody access, that's great. I think a jump from 35 to 50 is really high, especially because our revolving fund is not at a deficit. I mean, we have money in there, so it's not like we can't cover to get to 241. I think there are other ways, if we can take a look at the out of town and raise that up to help mitigate, them taking spots as well, because your competitive analysis shows that we're low there as well, but I'm one of 4 people, but that's kind of where I stand on the race. I don't think it should go up to 50. I think 50 is a huge lead, really big lead. 50 times 4, it's $200. Everybody, most people, not a lot. Not most everybody, but several families have more than one sticker. They have several cars.
Mike is with it.
So, you what?
You're four.
You're the
I
four.
too. I'll admit that.
So, as kids get older, they get more stickers, so they can take care of their own. So that's just, I don't know if the board wants to stay at 50 or if there's some number between there or not at all. That's just what I'm cognizant
Well,
of.
what's the number to pay lifeguards what they should be paying?
They said 117,000, right? So what's,
That's what would be brought in if there was a $15, that's an estimated of what would be brought in.
okay, so then that's a good
More
question.
with the $15 increase. So
So what do you
I
think?
estimated it at 7,800 stickers, because this past summer, I think it was 7,700. And,
But what's,
11,400 hours.
right,
Yeah.
so this past summer, there was 7,734 at $35. And it brought in a total of $271,770. So with that $15 increase, I basically based it off of 7,800 stickers sold, right? And so I timed that by the $15 increase, and it brought in another, whatever it was, 170, was it 117?
yeah, but I think the question is, Nick,
Yeah.
what is that number that you need to cover your lifeguards?
It's about, yeah.
I mean, it's 241 in total, but what's our
Like-
current, right?
I'm estimating it at 80 to 90,000
80 to 90,000.
Yes.
Okay,
Increase.
increase, yes.
okay, so then let's go 90.
So hold on, there's 38 positions. 30 hours a week.
Different rates.
I know, I'm just saying, how many total hours you charge for? So I understand, but you didn't give everybody $1 raise. That's 11,000.
It's gonna be more than $1 this summer, so.
So
Yeah,
it's 20.
550.
Yeah, he's
What
budgeting
about
the
next
full
year?
picture of 550.
Yes.
Right.
Well, if I could, I think that lifeguards are really important. And I think there are actually a lot of parents who don't even want their kids to be lifeguards anymore because it has an element of danger to it and exposure to the sun. So I much more on we should pay our lifeguards competitively. And we have different beaches, they have different challenges. And when you look at, not to disparage the aqua, but I think unless they've got Mountain Harbor, which I don't know, lifeguarding at a pool is entirely different than lifeguarding at Peggy Beach or, any of the other beaches we have. And I don't know if over the past few years, we've been tightening the number of hours that we have lifeguards at the beach. I suspect we might have. So, my feeling is if paying them more and expanding the hours that they're available to guard the beaches, I think that's $15, in my opinion, is worth it. So it's,
Yeah, I don't think anybody's debating
Yeah, I
that
agree.
they're worth the $15. I think we're debating on how much we actually need to supplement the current, the coffers to cover it because we bring in far more than what they need today.
right, but the beach sticker revolving fund also, we use that for other purposes such as improving parking lots and all that stuff, so,
So my point, the point was just to offset the cost.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, basically.
offsetting the
Right.
cost of the raise.
Right,
There's another factor here is that, okay, so we have, and probably just what, 8,900 households or something like that in town. We're selling 7,700 stickers. So almost, and we know it's not everyone in town's buying. It's multiple, and up here, we all have multiples, right?
Mhm.
If the price, I mean, and this is something we won't know until we make the adjustment. If they make the price go up and discourage multiple, or not discourage, but maybe a family thinks twice and they don't get 4 stickers. That's a benefit to the folks that aren't using, that we use the beaches. So 7,500 people aren't gonna fit in all the spots. So, you know, I think there's another benefit to raising it is, I don't think it's an unreasonable rate since we have not raised this in a long time. It's for a specific service, it's voluntary. I mean, maybe we're gonna be talking about bike rides next. You know, maybe you'll think about riding a bike instead, which won't cost you anything. I think that there are other benefits to this in addition to the financial, and the financial I'm 100% sold on because we have to be competitive to, I mean, this is our biggest asset, is our beaches, and we want them to be safe. So, I see what you're saying, like, it'd be nice to be very sensitive and only raising as much as we needed to cover the need. But I think there are other benefits that that will come from this. But we won't know, I mean, it's a gamble, right? We can adjust it next year if we go, oh, only 5,000 people bought tickets. There's.
To Karen's point, you're gonna violate the Emerson case. It's a 3-pronged test for increasing a fee. And it's not just to raise revenue or just a general fund, which this would not do. They have to be able to opt out of it if they don't want to take the service, but you're trying to dissuade people so that it wouldn't be appropriate under the Emerson decision to do that. Because there's nothing to do with the cost of what you're providing. It's supposed to be based on the cost. Maureen, you said it earlier, the delta between what we're taking in and our current costs, there's a lot of play in there. I'm not necessarily sold that there needs to be any increase at all right now, because the biggest outlier out there is minor parking lot. Until we know the cost of the minor parking lot, that revolving fund has over $500,000 in it. It's getting bigger. Minor, when it was approved, was gonna be X amount of dollars. We now think that's probably gonna be 20 to 50% more. Until we know the cost of that parking lot, I don't think it's prudent to change rates.
Can we use those funds for salary? For this coming season?
You have to leave money for the minor parking lot, but right now the fund has $560,000. And you're gonna be taking in another $338,000.
So if we
So
wanted to augment.
Yeah, you could do a salary increase. But when Nick and I were talking about this, if you were going to add more lifeguards to other areas, then that would even more create a cost. The other concern I have is the administrative function for the police department to try to police this with fewer officers. How are they supposed to enforce this if you go to a out-of-town sticker that's not good on the weekends?
Well, I was gonna ask that too, was the thought was either by color or it's gonna be
Yeah.
something really
So it would be a different.
mostly
color.
obvious.
But you don't have the officers to do it now. I mean, that's in the budget that you
Right.
know of, they're gonna be seeking additional officers who aren't HPIs anymore. So. I don't disagree with the analysis that there may need to be a fee sticker increase. I just think we need to know mine first.
I think it was 250-ish.
It was.
Yeah, right, so, okay.
So there are no other plans for any assistance at any other beaches?
They did the 3 parking lots. They did Egypt,
Yeah.
Central, and this one.
You just take it, yeah.
If there was gonna be some type of, trailer for bathrooms or something else, but there's nothing on the capital plan.
What about the Sand Hills Beach parking lot? Which
There's
is,
nothing on the capital plan for it.
One minute.
Sorry.
Susan, do you have a question? Got a comment?
Oh, no.
So, just to jump all over the place, we're gonna be talking about the beach tracks, which they are going to CPC for funding. Why is that not being considered as something from the revolving fund?
Is if for a capital project, it has to be over $25,000 and have a useful life of over 5 years.
So needs it first, I don't know what the like, oh, okay, but. Okay, we'll talk about that next.
There's nothing on the capital plan for beaches right now. Look, in regards to changing the amenities, if you wanted to purchase a trailer bathroom, which we looked at last year, that's $85,000 and it should be on the capital plan. And that's something that the beach revolving could pay for. The beach revolving could pay for bike rides. There's nothing to say they would, that they can't. Is there an amenity at beach?
We'll get to that.
Okay. I'm just trying to, I looked at this last night, but I'm just still trying to get all the different
Yeah, no,
data.
there's a lot in
It's
there.
kind of all over the place here, yeah. There was a lot in here. All right, so any other comment about the rates? I mean, I think it's too high, but and I think Nancy raises a good point, but, and it's not anything said that we're not saying don't pay the lifeguards the additional
Right,
$550.
right.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Okay, please do that for safety. That's not the message we're sending. Well, there's no vote yet. That's not the message I'm sending.
One question on rates?
Yeah.
In some of the other towns, they did separate at a senior rate. Did you guys consider that?
We did consider it, but I felt the need to not include it just based off of,
There's no way for us to run numbers up, but because there's nothing in the system that shows how many seniors in the past that bought stickers
Yeah.
versus non-seniors, so in terms of running numbers, we didn't, you know. we
Was
wouldn't have
afraid-
an accurate-
yeah, afraid that total wouldn't be where it's at right now if we included the senior fee, which was $40. But I was afraid it wouldn't offset the total cost of the lifeguards, so I did take it out of there.
So am I hearing that we have enough money in the beach sticker revolving fund now to be able to afford these increases in lifeguard?
Just annually and what you're taking in receipts, you may be able to completely afford it. Depending on how much it's gonna be in the number of hours.
Well, then for me, that's a no-brainer. Why would I increase it if you can already afford it?
I agree.
That's right.
Well, I
We
think
don't
I
have
have this
another
information
day.
about
Yeah,
the,
well-
what's it called, marijuana water or the.
Emerald.
And
Well, that's
just,
yeah.
I'm just
That
like,
she was,
oh,
that has.
I do think, are we talking about, because it's a different topic, the, parking tickets, I do think that's different than a fee.
Yeah, we'll get.
And we're still gonna address that.
Right. Okay, so,
Threw a lot at you, sorry.
well, we can do a couple of things. I mean, there is a lot here, so we can do a couple of things. We can go back, or we can take motions on what to do with the fee. What to do with Memorial Day. I personally don't understand why we're not raising the non-resident. Again, I was looking at some of the editing information, so. You know, not to look at it all just in a singular view, to look at it all together. I don't disagree. I like your idea of curtailing them from coming on weekends personally. I love that. I don't think that's gonna be a burden on the police because they're down on the weekends anyway, so they're just going to see that those residential, maybe make those non-residential stickers, maybe we make that different color, whatever.
So Humrock
But
only has,
why wouldn't we increase their fee to be more in line with other, so if we're looking for a little bit more revenue, again, like this whole discussion tonight, right? Why do we keep putting it on our residents? Why aren't we putting it on those that are coming into our town, utilizing our resources? As they do in Duxbury, you know? and
I don't
as they do in other
disagree.
towns. So,
I guess the thought would, because we're already taking away 2 days from them to
just
just,
trying, you being kind,
well,
yes.
yeah, to leave it at 300.
Yeah.
So,
Can I ask a question on the non-resident? Are these
Sure.
non-residents that have summer homes that live there in the summer?
no,
Or these are
these
out
are,
of town? So if
Hanover,
you have a
Hanover,
summer home in town,
you're a resident.
you are a
Yes.
resident.
Yeah.
Right. Pam, did you have anything?
Hi, thank you, Pam Abbott-Hadley, treasure collector in Scituate. Right now, we sell 2 different types of non-resident stickers. We sell Humrock only stickers.
Yeah.
And we sell non-resident all beach stickers. So you have to take into consideration both of those.
Yeah, I think Nick has that outlined here.
It's excluding.
Yeah, it says excluding Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah,
So leaving Humrock at the same price or.
And say max.
you know,
And same access as well, right, Nick?
Yeah, Hummer Rock, we felt like you didn't need to change anything with Hummer Rock.
so you can go Hammer Rock any day of the week,
Right.
including weekends. So,
Yeah, we
Yes.
would make sure that happens.
okay.
Thanks, Pam.
And one thing I wanted to add too, so Hummer Rock only already has a different colored sticker, right?
Yes.
So we would just make the non-resident sticker a different colored sticker. And hopefully that would help the enforcement.
And if I may, I'm sorry that this is all being thrown at you tonight, but in order for my treasure collector, we sell the stickers and we order the stickers, that has to be done soon. And we put the bulletin in the water bills starting November 1st. So we really need to know, what's
All right,
happening.
little pressure there, Pam.
Yes. Yes, sorry, I'm good at last minute.
Yeah, that's all right, good to know, good information to know. All right, so. Let's talk about the non-resident just for a minute, because I don't think they're fully independent of one another.
The non-residents, I believe, sold out in less than 8 minutes last year.
Yeah, it was.
So we know that is there any restriction on us raising prices for that?
Well, you're charging more because that's an amenity that is for a non-resident, meaning that, the residents of town are already paying taxes and everything else for these amenities. This is someone else that's coming in, can opt out of it if they want to, they can go to somewhere else.
So it doesn't apply.
Does not.
So it's at 300, I can't find here what Duxbury is at.
Uh, Duxbury only sells the drive-on sticker, it's like 500.
350.
Duxbury doesn't sell parking lot tickets to non-residents.
Okay, 350 non-resident drive-on.
Yeah,
350. And Marshfield doesn't have non-resident?
they have day passes for non-residents only, they don't sell like a general sticker for non-residents.
Oh, interesting.
I think we're the
We're the
only
only ones that
town
do.
that does.
And that's why they're sold out in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you increase that $50, it's only $120, only about $6,000.
Bring it 6,000 by increasing it to 350. Yeah.
I just talk about the economic development piece here, which is, I think, a lot of what you proposed is really good for our town on the economic development. So moving the dates so that you don't have to have a police out there during the non-busy season. And people feel welcome to come, they're gonna figure it out and they're gonna say, just like they do on the other beaches, they're gonna come and they're gonna go have lunch and then they're gonna go do stuff. From an economic standpoint, I think that's a win for the town. Restricting the out of towners on the weekend kind of butts up against that. I honestly don't think, given that we sell out in 8 minutes, that it's gonna, if people want those, they're gonna pay for them. And, if they can't come on the weekends, they'll figure it out, and maybe they'll get, we don't get, you're saying no day passes on the weekend either.
No, yeah, no day pass on the weekend.
But I would almost argue that, I love the fact expanding the day passes Monday to Friday, because then you can sell that too, come on the train, get a day pass, go to the beach. That brings people to our community. I'd almost say increase the number of day passes, and then maybe increase and figure out where we can sell them in places other than Harbor Master.
But then that impacts the whole parking issue that we face every summer between Memorial Day and Labor Day, which they're trying to.
So Monday through Friday only, is what they're saying.
Oh, so you're saying.
So the
okay,
day
I thought
passes
you were-
now are just Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
They're recommending expanding from Monday to Friday, makes sense. But they're only increasing five tickets or.
So 25 per day, but they're sold for all the beaches, so 25 is the number for all the beaches.
And how many
Currently
do we
just,
sell
currently
now?
just Peggy.
It's only,
20 only for Peggy.
but we've only sold a handful,
I'm
it's
just
not,
gonna
it's,
say
it's not a ton. So I feel like doing this would definitely open up some things for people, more opportunities.
Well,
So you're recommending 25 a day open for all, like non-resident, resident, Monday through Friday, all beaches.
all beaches, this is what they're recommending. I'm saying that I think there's capacity there, maybe more than 25. As a marketing opportunity for the community. To come to the beach.
Monday through Friday.
Just Monday through Friday, absolutely.
I agree.
All right. Any other thoughts on the non-resident? Is there any appetite to move the non-resident from 300 to 350?
I agree on that.
So there's appetite for that, all right, so I think we're getting closer. So let's go back to the resident. The proposal in front of us is from 35 to 50. We're hearing that we don't necessarily need all $15 in order to pay for the lifeguards. But I hear from the board that there's some desire to increase it somewhat. If somebody wants to put a motion for the whole 15, I'll entertain that, but if there's also another number that you think is reasonable, as I said, I think 15 is too much. I don't think we need it right now, and we have a lot of fees that are being thrown at our residents, so I would just ask that we be mindful of that. But I'll take a motion on the residential fee.
I agree that it's not, when we need an increase, we should increase, But if we needed it to take our lifeguard, I would agree, but since we don't, I don't agree at this.
Is that a motion?
You would move to not do anything?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would move to keep the beach sticker for residents at 40.
At $40?
Right,
Raise it to
35, sorry,
Raise it
at
by
35,
five.
I'm not raising it, I'm keeping it at 35.
All right, so there's a motion to keep the residential fee at $35. Second, by Mrs. Conlon, any further discussion?
I think that I would argue that because it hasn't been adjusted for a very long time, that a reasonable, to move it to 40 would be actually in keeping with, and then if we do have to raise it, it's not as big a sticker shock. So I would not support the 35, but if it fails, I would be.
So there's a motion on the table to keep the beach stickers at $35. There's a second, all in favor? All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so 3-2, it stays at $35. Okay, is that?
Got one then.
Correct. The next one is to, proposal to, let's stay with residential, to change the access or the requirement for the stickers for residential from Memorial Day to Labor Day, correct? I just want to make sure I have that right.
Yes,
Correct.
Yes.
second,
So is there a motion on the table for that? Someone, moved by Mrs. Conway, second by
second,
Mrs. Harrison. So the motion is to change the sticker dates from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Yeah. All those in favor?
aye.
All those opposed? That's 5-0.
And that information you put on the sticker? Because right now, I think it's for whatever.
Tells you when it
We'll have to talk to
expires.
Pam, the designer.
Yeah, this is-
All right, let's take that one.
Not much room on stickers,
Okay.
and people like to keep all of them all over their cars, so. I would say no, not enough room to put dates on stickers. If we have a person that's renting a place for a month or a couple of weeks, we just write.
All right, so would we be putting signs up at the beaches that say stickers necessary between this date and this date? Otherwise, nobody knows.
It's a good idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kathy's gonna let us know.
It'll be on the water bill, whatever bill you send it out, right?
Yeah, we'll put it on the pamphlet that we send out and that we post for the different rates and when they go on sale and everything.
But I think to your point, you need some sort of a campaign so everybody know it changed.
Right.
So if someone drives up to the beach on the day after Labor Day, they know they don't need a sticker because it'll say it.
Right
Okay.
now, the stickers, the signage at the beach, I believe, says must display a valid beach sticker.
You don't mean,
No, it just
Doesn't
says
say
that,
that.
they will need to be amended, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to the non-residential issue. 150 stickers, currently at $300. Is there any appetite to increase that?
Yes.
All right, I would make a motion to, increase the non-residential sticker from $300 to $350. Second by Mrs. Harrison, any further discussion?
Only, do we want that motion to also reduce them by 2? They recommend dropping again 150 total. Doesn't have, like,
And then the weekend would be.
and then the second piece of that is
Yeah, we can.
only Monday through Friday.
Okay. Do you want to? Sure. I don't think you have to, I don't think it has to go down 2 weeks.
Excuse me, sorry, me again. So my only problem with the non-residents not being able to go on the weekends is the Humrock only sticker that we also sell to non-residents that is now only is $100. So, they can go to the beach on the weekend.
Yes.
So why can't the all beach people that are paying $300 for their beach sticker, can they go to Humrock on the weekend?
I would assume so.
Just not Peggy and
If they
mine?
buy a Humrock sticker, it's gonna be a different color, right?
Yes,
Not a different color.
but if you buy a Humrock sticker, it's Humrock only.
I'd say no, because what we're trying to do is manage the parking and the availability to residents. So if the Humrock sticker,
Yeah.
we're not changing that, it's all access, it could be whatever that is, looks different than the out of town sticker, should be fine. The out of town sticker, in theory, or what's being proposed, is only valid from Monday through Friday.
Okay, so a Humrock only sticker is also a non-resident sticker. And they can go, so for $100, I'm just saying, for $100, they can go the beach any day they want. Anybody that's paying $350 for a beach sticker can't go to any beach on a
We
weekend.
understand, but most of the people in Hummerock are Scituate taxpayers. See the difference?
Yeah, yeah.
So
but-
you're really just, I think the only reason why Hummerock's ever been parsed out is because of the number of
They're mostly
Marshfield people that go there, exactly, so it's courtesy, so I don't have any desire to change all that,
Okay,
I don't, does the rest
I
of the
think
board?
that the number of people are gonna drop. It feels like we're going far away from here down.
so the $350 people need to know they can only go to the beach Monday through Friday, but the $100 ones can go to Humrock anytime they want. But the all beach pass, that's also includes Humrock, because it's all beach
Won't be valid on the weekend. You know, wrong.
at all. No, you know what I mean? Oh, do you see at my point? Like if you buy $350 for, you spend $350 for a ticket for a beach pass, all beach pass, and you can't go at all on the weekend. But Humrock only is only $100, and you can go whenever you want. It just,
Well, I guess I guess what we would have to look at, and I don't really think tonight is the night to do that, because since we have 7 days to implement this. But, what percentage of our non-resident beach passes are coming from Marshfield residents or Norwell, or like, where are they coming from?
I don't have,
Because you're assuming, I'm just looking at Pam on this.
Right on.
No. Because with your argument, you're assuming that there's a great crossover from the $100 available. Is there a limit on the Hummerock ones? How many you sell?
we sell 300 at the moment. of
And that's
Humrock only,
So
non-residents.
non-resident Hummerock home. Basically put in place for Marshfield residents, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Although all my neighbors go to Humrock Beach and they live in Pembroke, but
Okay.
same.
Mike, did you have a comment?
I was saying, I don't have like specific data, but with my job, luckily this summer I didn't work, so I was able to, I will mention them, but I was able to go to the beaches during the week and weekends, and Humrock is never full ever. So I think the other piece is the Terran District's mine and Peggy were packed.
You did have terrible weather on weekends this year.
Yeah.
There were a couple of, but every nice day it was.
Yeah.
It was like, my experience.
Tracy?
I'm just saying, I think that we're being very sensitive to the revenue, but I just being new to the rec commission, I'm bringing in a new, so many people, I think we're trying to direct traffic to
Right.
what's gonna benefit our residents most. So having that option for Hummerock is great, but I think this
motion is mostly for the problems that we're having with access to our residents
To the other beaches.
on the weekends.
I mean, that's how I interpret it. So,
I just have one thing, can we also talk about the fees, the fines for not having a sticker, because I think that may impact it as well, if we increase it, it's $50 to go to the beach and fish. Or pay.
right, but I'm also
So if
not
we
clear, is
increase
that
that,
belong in this discussion or discussion with the police? Nancy?
It was brought to the police, like, we brought it to the traffic rules and regulation committee with Kelly Billing, and then I also did discuss it with Chief Thompson as well, so they are aware of it. There wasn't any like negative feedback, I guess, it was just, if it happens, it happens.
Okay.
The handicap sticker, you had traffic rules and SPD provide you with an opinion
Right.
as to what their vote was. I don't know what they took a vote when you were there before.
They didn't vote, but there was, they told me that they would support it, there was just no vote or letter of support or.
Right.
Do that, so.
All right, so Susan, I think, are you wanting that to be resolved?
No, I guess we have to hold on that one then.
I think we probably should.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on that particular one. All right, so let's go back to, you seem to that's impacting your decision on whether or not to raise the non-resident.
Yeah, I see that discrepancy with, Aurora being, a lot cheaper. And the access, only getting during the week.
But it's not the same today,
I just,
as far as, access is the same, correct, but the fee is not the same. Correct?
yeah,
What's Hummer? Can someone tell me so I don't have to go through my, this 20-page document? Is
Humrock sticker is $100.
It's $100.
Yeah.
And so non-resident is $300, thank you.
300 for Humrock, non-resident.
No,
I know.
non-resident, 300 for the other 4 beaches. Well, for
All
all
access,
5
the other beaches, Monday through Friday. If this is the
Right, the way it stands now, $100, all access, Humrock only, Monday through Sunday.
Everyone's gonna go to the beach now,
All right,
because they
sure.
don't know when they can go.
All
Guys,
of the beaches.
all right, look, let's just get to this. There's a motion on the table to move the non-residential sticker price only from 300 to 350. Michelle, is there a second?
Ms. Harrison seconded that.
Okay. So all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so we're in favor of raising the non-residential fee from 300 to 350. Okay. There you go. I personally like the non-residential restriction from Monday to Friday, so is there any further discussion on that?
Right, motion.
Yes, please.
Move to restrict the non-resident beach sticker access to Monday through Friday. And excluding holidays.
so you're changing it from Monday through Sunday to Monday through Friday. Exclude, and holiday, no holiday.
And no holidays.
Is there a second? Sorry, second by Mr. Goodrich. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Have you decided? Did you say aye? Oh, I didn't hear. Okay, 5-0, that carried, sorry, I didn't hear it, so. Okay. I think that's all we're gonna take care of tonight, right? That's pretty
That
much
sounds good.
everything. I don't think the fines, I would like to get an opinion on enforcement and all that as well, who changed, but,
The day pass.
oh, the day pass, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Increasing,
So the day pass, the proposal is to go from Monday through Friday. What?
no, Tuesday, Thursday to Monday through Friday, I think.
It was 2 days a week,
Yep.
they're proposing 5 days a week excluding holiday, weekends.
And not just for Peggy, right?
For all
For
these,
all beaches.
Yep.
And is the price staying at $20 a day?
yes.
Still maxed out at 25 stickers?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Well, we need to say what it is, because it's not that's the, all right, so, motion to, increase the access for one-day passes to Monday through Friday for all beaches in Scituate at $20 a day with a maximum of 25 stickers sold per day. Is that correct?
Correct.
Discussion?
Again, so there's no holidays. Like no federally recognized holidays.
Yeah, that should, yes, should include, no,
As of now.
right,
Excluding holiday.
Excluding
Yes.
state
I'll buy one on the
federally
4th of
recognized
July.
holidays.
Okay, Michelle, we have that?
Yes.
There's a motion, is there a second? Second. Second by Mrs. Connolly, all in favor? All opposed?
We have a point of order on that one?
Yep.
Okay, great. I think that we will, not tonight, but we will need to have a conversation about, where we're gonna sell those, because if it's all beaches, I think we're gonna need to do a little more homework on, is it always gonna be the harbor master, do people come into town hall, whatever that is. I don't know what the answer is, but I think.
Oh, because it was done because of the proximity of Petty Beach and the
Yes.
harbor master?
Yes.
Okay, good call out. Okay. All right,
thank you.
I think we got through that,
Think so?
good conversation.
Thanks for all that.
Yeah, everybody, I really appreciate it, thank you.
We started out with this, sunrise pass, per se.
Lot of changes.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Alana. All right. So next, we're gonna come back to the beach bike racks. Kelly here, hi Kelly, from the beach commission. How are you this evening? How about you? Good.
Hello, I'm Chris Mason, how are you?
Hi, Chris. Name and address for Michelle's record.
Oh,
Chris Mason.
Chris Mason, 11 Sherman Drive.
Your neighbor.
Thank you. Okay, so you have a proposal in front of us for bike racks. Do you want to walk through that a little bit with us?
Yes, Chris is gonna take you through that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're proposing installation of bike racks at 4 beaches, Minot, Egypt, Sandhills, and Peggotty. So this will increase access for our residents, help decrease the amount of cars that goes to the beaches, decrease the carbon footprint, and essentially it aligns with, you know, our community engagement to encourage active transportation. So the bike racks we're looking at is a swerve style. Well, we think that, you know, from an aesthetic standpoint, that's kind of the one we landed on. So total of 38 racks, locations, 3 locations confirmed, DPW needs to confirm on Peggotty. We initially had a location that they pushed back on, so I have a new location here. We're assuming a cement pad for every one of these. If you can hop to the next slide. So these are the expected costs. So 10 racks at Egypt, 10 at Minot, 10 at Peggotty, 8 at Sandhills. Rack costs total about $10,000. And then we have estimates on concrete pad, the install and the haul and the dump, totaling about $36,000. So first rack, this is Minot. So this is on the, I guess it would be the south side of Minot. We all know where this is. So on both sides of that parking there, we're looking at 4 on one side and 6 on the other side. So I'll stop there if there's any questions on locations.
Only question I have is, timing, you're thinking the spring and still, well, you have that time in town meeting, right?
Yes.
So it'd be spring. We do have a large, construction project starting there, so we just gotta make sure that they are not installed before that starts.
Okay.
It should just get approved.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll get to it, but that's gonna be my question, why did it need to be?
Why don't we go through everything and then we'll come back, let's just take those.
Next slide. So this is Egypt. So as you pull in, this would be on the left. This would coincide with kind of where the outhouses are, where the pod is. It's out of the way, but it's kind of all together there.
Just thought that was the most intelligent place to put it. Next one. This is Sand Hills, so this is across the street from the entrance. In a spot that seemed like it would be ideal for bike racks. And then next one, so this is the alternate location at Peggotty. As you pull in on the right, there's a large kind of runway that runs up to that first line is the first parking spot, you know, pointing into the marsh. And you can see it from the other side. So there's a significant amount of area there that seemed like it was out of the way, to be visible to people as they pull in and say, oh, hey, we have bike racks now, but not in the way of traffic. You know, initially we looked at closer to the beach. There was two concerns really. One was it's kind of impeding where the lifeguards park. The other one was as storms come in, the sand could go over those. They were worried that they would just take them out when they go to clear that. I looked kind of everywhere else, and this looked like the kind of safest, most out of the way, but also visible location for Peggotty. And that's it.
I know I have a lot of questions, but I know, Andrew, I know you have some as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess my concern, $31,000. I'll say after that, I want bike racks at every beach. If I go to Wampatuck, my kid uses the bike every day, and it's affordable, you can move it, so trust me, you can kick it. And I know there's all of our prevailing wage and everything else, but you can get a portable bike rack for $400. Pulls 8 bikes. I just, having the cement pads, we're gonna try and say where they're gonna go tonight. Some snow plow's gonna hit them, there's gonna be construction, they're gonna break. There's $31,000 gonna end up costing the town in the next 10 years, 40, 50, 60, $70,000. Right? I'll buy 10 bike racks right now, they're portable. Get them everywhere, and then we could use them for other events and do other stuff. Like, is it just the aesthetic quality that we want, or I mean, I'm just nervous.
Why'd you land on that rack? I think you just curious.
So actually, I didn't personally land. I kind of took this over as I came in. Nancy Werner was working with Andrea prior to me and they kind of settled on this.
And was there any discussion with DPW at all about the installation of them and where the pricing came from installation, or whether or not it was even feasible? Because I think Andrew brought up a good point, you know, plowing, right? Are these removable? Like what are?
So no, these are mounted. I mean, these would be a new pad and they'd be mounted to.
So we can't plow at all in those areas where they are.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's a challenge. Any other questions, Andrew?
No, is there opposition to a more portable, like that's what some of our schools do, like is that not? I just know if that was discussed. Besides,
I'm not opposed. I guess who would manage all that? So when the racks were put there, would they be bolted down? Who would move them? Would they stay there all year? You know, where do they go if they're moved? Who would move them?
yeah, I mean, it's.
All questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan?
Yeah, Colorado, do we already have a beach?
I think they settled on non-Hummerock at the moment because parking is an issue. It's what kind of was told like so
Say that again?
they said parking isn't an issue at Hummerock, so they focused on the busy reaches.
I would contend to you that that's really not the issue. The issue is, are we allowing people, giving people who want to ride a bike a place to put their bike? And in fact, if you think about where the Hummerock parking lot is, you can't even see it when you're on the beach. So I would think that we would want to have bike rack at Hummerock. And I also think it's kind of conducive, that just general area for people who want to ride their bikes, so. And I also don't like to leave Hummerock out of our plans unless it's absolutely necessary, so. That would be just my question.
Carrie, anything? Anthony?
Well, the need is definitely there, the purpose and the benefits to the community are at all, in my mind, debatable. I mean, the number of bikes that my kids lost from not being able to secure them on beaches, like, definitely want to talk about. I like the idea of something permanently installed if it's not impeding DPW, like we have, the library, we have a, it's different, we have an architectural or an cultural feature too. It's on the parking lot, it's there all the time. People use it unless there's a foot of snow on the ground. Kids are coming there in November on their bikes. So I don't think a seasonal, non-permanent is, I think I like the cost savings, but I think that it's a little short-sighted on what the use could potentially be. If it snows a ton, yeah. I mean, is there, but I think Peggy, like I said, we're still looking at it. You really do have to look at, is it in harm's way kind of thing. I don't think the other locations have the same. I'm not as concerned about the other locations, especially if a pad is there, there's gonna be a lip that will discourage the problem. Right, yeah, I think it's a real concern, but I do like the idea of installing a cement pad that will be used at least 10 months of the year. So, is this, the funding is for a CPC application?
It is, yeah. And that, if you go back to like specifically Peggotty, it may be that, I mean, that's relatively new. Maybe they can mount that right there. I don't know, they can mount those or not, I mean, but that's brand new asphalt. It's possible they can mount those. There's other locations, but it's just not.
And has anybody on your committee met with the DPW at all with regards to what's entailed with this particular design that you've chosen? No? Okay, so that might need to be done. I love the idea of bike racks, we need them, absolutely. Not wild about the minor location for plowing purposes and just, also when it's high tide, nobody can access the beach there anyway, so I would think it needs to be down by one of the parking lots. Where there's more beach more of the time, but that's just my personal opinion.
We're getting more beach going on.
Excuse me?
We're getting more beach
there. Okay. I mean, I just have concerns about the cost of them all as well. And I agree with Karen about Hummerock, I think that's gonna be included. I mean, thinking the number of people that have bikes down there, it would be great, that's one of the best places to ride around here. Sand Hills, is that even public property where you're proposing? I can't tell where that piece of property is.
So it's directly across the street. It looks like it's where the
Is that our property?
It's a town parking lot across.
It is, okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. And, am I hearing concerns about the cost of this, the style? I know you have concerns with cost.
Also, has this already been approved by CPC and I'm just forgetting about it?
No, we just submitted it.
Okay, all right. Do you have anything to finish?
No, I mean, if we're asking about the style, I think Karen mentioned that, one with the library, I don't know. What else?
It was part of the project, and
Oh,
that looks like a fish or a shark. or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, it was also the cost of that was, the costs that were incurred were donated by a private investor. And then our donor and VOTEC built them.
Mitch, do you see any concern with this particular installation requirement?
I think it's, whatever you do is gonna have to be arranged with the DPW to make sure they're not in the way. I think you can talk to the DPW. mobile ones, for lack of a better term, might make, maybe a Peggy make a better use, because we can take them out of there at the end of the year, just because Peggy parking lot is hammered by storms. Putting them there, they're, you know, I'm worried about cars hitting them, I'm worried about you pushing it off that paved surface, but then you have conservation issues. But that's right at the entryway, so I think whatever the board wants to do the installation of bike racks, I think it has to be coordinated with DPW. And maybe for Peggy, we look at, you know, one that's removable. You know, DPW, at one thing we gotta move, but the cost of the movable ones is so much less than the permanent ones. We're trucking the Moby mats, we're already trucking a bunch of stuff out of there anyways, so what's one more truck? Haven't left, thank God.
So you're recommending something that is movable?
I think it just needs to be coordinated with DPW. They might say that that's a better place for a movable one, because that parking lot just gets hammered, and when there's a storm, we have front end loaders, multiple front end loaders moving sand. You know, plowing, I don't worry about plowing that much, because how much do I really need to plow the beach parking lots? You know, I could go around that, we don't plow the beach parking lots until everything else is plowed anyway, so they go back in the daytime. More, especially Peggy, just the amount of use it gets, the traffic it gets, the amount of cars in and out, and then in the winter time, again, that, it's just a parking lot gets inundated with sand, it takes a lot of repairs, so. They should probably sit down with Kevin the next week and just kind of coordinate with Kevin, Sean. And what, I echo what Karen Campbell said, the ones done, and mine, if we're gonna put those in, they can't go in until that project is done. But I wasn't here for the beach discussion, but I know you were talking a lot about parking and parking spaces. I'm concerned removing parking spaces, even if it's only a couple. We should be able to find a place where we can put these out.
Yeah. Well, their proposed isn't in a parking space, but at Monument, but I think it needs to be in a different location. But, okay, so what I'm hearing is that we'd love you to schedule some time with Kevin Cafferty and his team, and obviously Sean, or whoever it is, whoever he works, you know, he delegates it to, because I think there are some issues with regards to what type will work best, especially from a maintenance and a management of it. You know, who's responsible for, if there are some portable ones taking it in and out, and then what is it gonna entail to put in those cement beds, you know, where that makes sense. When's the minor parking lot supposed to be finished? Or done?
A year ago?
It's the back one, right? Is that what we're
No,
talking about?
we're gonna
Or,
redo
oh,
the
it's
front,
one,
it's
just the
raising
front
its height significantly,
one.
trying to get
Yeah,
out
there's
some
not a
of the
lot of
flood
room.
areas, well, there's a high king tide floods.
Right,
All back in the pocket. So part of that proposal is to really raise that back corner, to get it out of the king tides, because it just floods on
Okay.
tides now, basically not using. The back parking lot, I know they had talked about that, and conservation was not, really keen on paving, putting down a impervious surface, almost a pervious lot, so
right,
it's kind of just an overflow lot that people park in now.
yeah,
The other issue down in mine is the parking lot involves some area that other people are claiming as their own.
I was gonna ask that question
That
too.
we believe is the town's property, so.
Okay. Is that park there, that pocket park there, is that the town?
No,
That's
it's-
private?
Or city.
when you come in the entrance, it kind of goes straight towards those new condos, there's some property there, that has a structure on it, a garage on it. I believe our paperwork belongs to the town.
Right, or maybe, okay.
So that's kind of what,
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we'd love you to go sit down with the DPW and flush out your plans a little bit more. There are some concerns about the costs. I think you're hearing that too, so maybe if there's another style out there that may not be so labor intensive, but still provides you with the capacity that you're looking for. Might want to look at a couple other options.
Okay.
So I think that would be some good next steps.
Okay.
And we thank you, we know we need the bike racks, so.
Yeah, definitely support
Yeah,
that.
definitely support that, that's, we just wanna make sure we get the right kind and place, appropriate places that we can manage.
Okay. That's good.
Okay, thanks so
Thank you.
much, thanks for your time. Get back on. All right, so sorry, Mike.
Okay, so Cambridge, just as an aside, I was biking this weekend, and I was in Cambridge, and they have pretty much the style, and they turn them parallel to the street, so they don't block the sidewalk, that you can put your bike up against it, sort of it.
And that's cool.
Yeah, right. That was right, but it's the style. Sorry, I just said the log on that chair. Okay. They get taking my hands off.
Okay, so next we have Corey. Sorry, you could have come up here, you guys, I apologize, so I was trying to get my computer back up and running. So we have Corey here, and she's here to talk about a proposal from Collins Engineers for the Pole Parkway Resilient Design and Engineering Contract as a part of the park development. So really nice comprehensive proposal.
Yeah, we have introduced the committee. Absolutely. Matt McKinley is the chair of the whole redevelopment parkway. I see Sherry Critchfield Lyons is here. Joby Norton's here. Mike Gibbons, did I already say that? And Bob Warner. Anyway, so it's been a very good committee, and I think you'll see the fruits of their labor, and with Corey's expert guidance, I think we've gotten pretty far. And I will say that it's been useful to have the DPW involved in our meetings on an informal basis. Kevin's been there and Sean Carr has been there, so it's been a very good working group of people, and I thank them for getting us to this point.
Well, we thank you for being at the meetings yourself, involvement in this one.
So the proposal is to that we received from Collins Engineering was through a process that involved us crafting an art of the price for proposals that we did a lot of during the discussions of our meetings. So I put together the RFP, we then posted it on the website and advertised it through the central register. That took place over July and August this year. So we received a total of 4 proposals from teams of engineers and landscape architects and scientists. They were all very, very good proposals, highly qualified teams. So I put together another group of proposal scorers that went through and scored each proposal based on the criteria that we put out in our RFP. So Matt, in the chair, he scored, as well as staff from DPW. So based on those scores, they were all really close together, but we picked the top 2 firms that scored the highest in the interview. And after thoroughly interviewing them, Matt and I, debated.
Fierce debate.
Yeah, so we arrived at Collins Engineering as they seem to provide the best value. We didn't initially review the price proposals, but we did, afterwards. And they were very close, all within $5,000 of each other. So we didn't think price was going to be a factor here. So we really are basing our decision based on qualifications, and the quality of the response and the value we think we're going to get from this team. So, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, we did take into consideration the view of the entire
committee was involved in the creation of like the specifications of the RFP. And yeah, I think some of the things that came out in this interview, so even after the initial just review of the responses that we got, using Langford and Collins, one of the reasons was because they had really done a good job of incorporating the beautification aspect in the response, in addition to that. Felt like their technical chops, of course, are good too, so. But it just felt like it was encompassing of everything we were trying to accomplish. The project based on the committee's input.
So we all have it, so I know it was very comprehensive, and I do seem like they touched upon a lot of different facets. I didn't see your RFP, but it does seem like they've really given you a comprehensive response. I have a question about the RFP. If you didn't take the lowest bidders because there was a better value shown, is that still gets legal? Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure we're all set there. And where's this being paid from? 394?
It's $150,000 grant, state grant, and a $250,000 capital project.
Okay. I'll open up the board for questions.
Yeah, so earlier, I might be getting potty because I went, so I love, the firm was fabulous. I don't even speak more about some of the work. I know they did some work with MassDOT. And I don't know if or in depth, just kind of speak to their Massachusetts, because I know they do work all over the place. But just, I know dealing sometimes with our local regulations can be difficult at times, but I don't know if you can kind of speak how they address some of those.
Yeah, so one of the things that I put into the selection criteria is you need to have experience working with a small coastal town in Massachusetts. So we don't want a big firm from New York coming in that doesn't understand the challenges and opportunities of working within a small town. So this firm has worked successfully with Salem, Marblehead, and actually their team is comprised of Collins Engineering, who's full group, who's also done a dredging disposal plan. So they do have a lot of experience here in Massachusetts. If you want to see the full response, I have copies of them. Give you to share that shows a lot of their similar experience. It's very detailed.
I think we have it. We have it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just at the back.
In Salem, quite a bit of work in Salem and other.
Also Seven Gables.
Yeah,
that's
that was
Yeah,
impressive.
interesting.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of experience in Boston as well. Yes, I think it's important that they work with smaller towns.
Yep, sure.
Susan, anything?
So I want to better understand the timeline, if this is sort of like my manually see. Okay, so the first, I broke it up into basically 3 phases for the overall schedule. So this contract will cover the first 2 phases, which is designing a concept and then engineering the concept. This third phase is permitting and further design and technical specifications of the concept plan, but that is expected to take more than a year. So just the design development could potentially put us at the end of 2025. Oh no, 2024. I'm sorry, 2022. So the initial phase that we're going to do with this contract put us at the end of 2024. At that point, we'll be ready to apply for permits, and that could take a year or more to get permits through the various agencies that we need to work with. Okay. So, and then we don't even have any funding for construction. Gotcha, okay. And I noticed they're doing the initial design and then their house was this one. Or would you be doing this? No, they would, it looked like they were gonna do it. Okay, so end of 2024 and then a year.
Yeah.
At least, no, I, it was a great response and a lot of detail. I just wasn't incredible. I wasn't sure what the time.
And so just for, public comment too, it's for the full, taking a look at Cole Parkway, building climate resiliency. This is just about a parking lot and fixing a parking lot. It's much more intensive. I just want to make sure the public knows that, because it's a big ticket item for design and engineering. It's really taking a look at that whole area, flood mitigation, and all the topics that you all have been meeting about for what, 18 months? What, a long time, right? Not that long. I feel like it's been 18 months or more.
I feel like it's been that long.
Yeah.
No, it's actually moved along fairly well.
Yes.
It's been less than 6 months, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think our first meeting was December.
Yeah.
Okay.
The very first year.
Great. So lots of progress. I just wanted to make sure that folks, the public knew that this is a very comprehensive look at our flooding situation
Well,
down
and
in
if
the
I
harbor
could
area.
piggyback on that, we're not building a park there. People think we're gonna
Yeah.
take all the parking spaces away.
Yeah.
That is not, well, I've heard it many times. That's not what this is about.
Correct.
Because and I think when people, I hope that we'll post this on the website, because I think people will be encouraged to see that it's looking at drainage issues, it's looking at solutions for the flooding that happens upon occasion, more often than we would like. But it's also a recognition that it is still, will be a parking lot, but that it will be a parking lot enhanced with ways of providing less probably more permeable surfaces if possible, and to make it a resilient project, because that will line us up for more grants, just the way hopefully we will with Clearfield Fourth. So, and I want to be sure that everyone understands that we're extremely sensitive to the fact that there is the Mill Wharf parking lot that gets affected. The proposal definitely includes looking at Front Street as well, including the drainage that comes down from the hills there. So that, it's more than just Cole Parkway, but primarily Cole Parkway. And whether or not we can afford it, I like the fact that they actually said, they would design this so that we might be able to do it in incremental phases. So we're not necessarily having to take on some huge project that could be millions of dollars. And I did appreciate the fact that they referred to the Scituate Harbor resiliency study as well as the master plan. So, I was very happy with the response. And this has been a great committee. And I thank them all. Thank you.
Just to underscore that a little bit too, I mean, parking is a priority, like it's in there, it's very much a priority of this project. And we do have members of the business community on the committee. So
Yes.
that aspect of it's definitely represented in at least the initial response that we saw, and in the interview that we had with Collins. For the record.
Great.
And there'll be considerable amount of public outreach in the
As a part of their test.
Karen?
Just one question that, it is a great proposal and qualifications are very exciting. Depth of experience, it's going to be awesome for you guys to work with. In your RFP and in your considering options here, how do you address the fact that quarter of parking area is privately owned? The Mill Wharf got our place. Was that part of the RFP to say, we don't want to make it worse over here? Yeah, like, how does that work?
Yes, so, the Mill Wharf parking areas, behind the Coast Guard station over there. So, one of the things that, of course, we wanted to look at was if we raise up that wall or here, we're just gonna send all the water over there. And, so that's why they have proposed to do some, hydrologic modeling so that we can understand if we're gonna do something over here, how's it gonna affect, these other areas? So we'll be able to figure that out throughout the process.
And have you had an opportunity to talk to the owners of that parking lot?
Well, Bob Warner's on our,
Oh, he's on the thing, yeah, right.
so he's been right along with us the whole
Is he still on though? I thought that.
He is
Party.
partially.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
partially, so he's still on not the other company.
Oh, so this immediate, I see this, which part, okay. All right. Now, that's a good question, because I'm curious about all the, like, the design or anything for that whole wall.
Well, I think that's another thing that they mentioned in the proposal, that we have to be very careful that if we do something here, whether it's a revetment or a seawall or whatever we do, what's the impact up and down? So, yeah, that's why it's complicated.
It's very complicated. Great work. Any other questions? Any comments or questions from the audience? No? All right. Mrs. Conley, do you want to make a motion?
Yes, move that the select board award a contract in the amount of $394,500 to Collins Engineers, Inc. to provide design and engineering services for drainage improvements, flood hazard reduction, pedestrian safety improvements, and public engagement for the Cole Parkway parking lot.
Moved by Mrs. Conley, second by Mr. Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Thank you for all your work. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Yes, very welcome. Thank you everyone for coming in and supporting them. Okay.
Not a paper.
Yeah, that was a very comfortable response, for sure. All right, Jim. Look at that. 8:26. You're on.
That's right on time.
Right on time.
This will be very brief. We spent a lot of time talking about this at town meeting. So basically, the Army Corps has told us that the 103 process, which is their regular maintenance process, to be pursuing repairs to what I call the Cedar Point seawall, is really not the right program for this. They cap it 10 million or 30 million. Really don't give waivers. So at this point, we'll look to inform the Army Corps that we're going to terminate what they call the Cap 103. We will still pursue direct congressional funding. But as I mentioned, the Army Corps said best case scenario, I fast track 5 to 7 years before we even start construction under that. But we will pursue that. That's kind of our back pocket if something else doesn't work out. So we will, I look for the board just to authorize terminating the Cap 103 and authorize the DPW to issue an RFP for engineering service to design a replacement of the wall, and also look at ways we can make some repairs to the wall in the short term.
So, tell me again, what do you ask me to terminate? It's not written here.
Cap 103,
Capital 03?
DAP,
Yeah.
Cap 103,
Oh,
the Army
Cap
Corps.
103. I'm gonna ask for discussion, but I just want to get the terms right, so I don't see anything in there. Terminate that and move forward with pursuing,
Authorize the DPW to issue an RFP for designing a new wall and also for repairs, short-term repairs to the existing wall.
and are we speaking of just the small section or the entire Cedar Point?
We'll design the entire thing.
Entire thing.
And then when it's all designed, we can have discussions about breaking it into sections, which is what we did last time. on the
Okay.
side for the-
Okay, questions? Comments?
My comments would be, I mean, this is what we discussed at the meeting. I think this is sole residence. I think this is the best way forward.
Good work. I was gonna put out on the meeting with the group and the article and discussion on that.
No. No comment? Nope, okay.
Oh, yeah, general timeline, Jim, I mean,
We'll probably take close to a year to design.
design and engineering.
Then you're gonna permitting, which will take a while.
And
Which is
what-
why part of it will be to look at a we can make short-term repairs to sections.
Right.
It's not as simple as just go out, slap a concrete on it. So that'll be part of the RFP to give us.
And so once we get this approval, Kevin will start working on an RFP immediately?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ready to go out.
Okay.
We'll get it out as quickly as we can.
Okay.
We've done it in the past, so it's not a whole brand new thing for us.
Yeah, I have just two questions and they're not quick. One is, do we know how long it took to get that revetment built down at the lighthouse? It seems like it didn't take years and years to get permits. And so I'm just
Yeah, that was,
curious.
the whole thing was an Army Corps project. I don't know when they
That was an
started
Army
it.
Corps
Yes,
project?
that was an Army Corps project that actually, we didn't have anything to do with that at all, I don't believe. No funding, no permitting, that was all done through the Army Corps.
Okay, it didn't seem to take that long, really.
And it didn't last very long either.
No. Well, it's still there.
Are you talking about the revetment or the big seawall?
I'm talking about.
I mean, not the seawall, but the big huge one right at the end of
With the giant rocks.
Yeah. I don't
Okay,
think
so
she's talking about.
that's the seawall,
Jetty.
that was,
I know
that was
the
a
jetty,
CPC project, that was before my time. you
yes, it
know?
was,
Yeah.
CPC.
Yeah.
It's like
25 years.
No,
Okay.
no,
They're talking the
no,
new wall along the side of the
It was like
parking
two
lot.
thousand ten.
By the lighthouse? Yeah,
Yeah, by the lighthouse was around 2010.
I don't know, but that. 2008. That's, wasn't in the tile zone, that's out of the tide zone, so it's a little different permitting. Whereas this is actually in the tide, but I don't know, Karen, for my time.
All right, well, I mean.
It's a good question.
It
It does happen quickly.
Yeah, it did. The second question I had, when, we were talking about Marshfield at some point and how fast that happened down in Brent Rock, did that happen because there was a major breach and therefore,
I would say
permitting was
most likely.
speeded up and construction funds were,
When you have a disaster, an emergency, you can
okay,
do
you
things.
can do
quicker.
things that you can't, okay, that's all I know.
I think it's fair to say too that we're experiencing a lot of difficulty with CZM and permitting now that may not have been as
Be as robust
yeah,
as
a
well.
couple years back.
Yeah.
You know,
When the Army
It's
Corps
part of it,
mentions
too.
problems with CZM in a presentation, you know, that they're problems with CZM.
okay.
So
Any
the design will
comments?
take at least a year to get designed.
A year to get the design.
Would
Yes,
that be
sir.
a private contractor?
Excuse me, sir, name and address?
Brian Murphy, 28 Jericho Road, Scituate.
Okay, question?
Would that be a private contractor?
Yeah, we'll do an RFP to hire an engineering firm. Do the design.
And that'll take approximately
Take about a year to get the design done.
just a design.
Yeah.
And what happens in the meantime if something happens?
Well, as I said, part of that,
At the meeting the other night.
like finished, part of that RFP would be to look at repairs to the seawall in the interim.
Okay.
To make recommendations on that, because it's just not the simple slap and concrete,
Right.
it has to be done than that. We know we gotta get out there. But that'll also require easements from all the residents just to get to it, because their property runs at least up to the wall. So we're gonna be able to get access to that wall, so we'll have to ask for easements for that too, but the engineering firm will make recommendations on what we can do for repairs.
Anything else?
When and how much money is it gonna cost?
Hey, George, name and address.
George Simmons, 73 Lighthouse Road.
Thank you.
I mean, until we actually put the RFP out, it's unclear what it's gonna cost. We have $2 million in authorization, that should cover the design. It's gonna cover the permitting, couldn't tell you, George, but it should cover the design, this gets long.
That's not in the capital plan, 1790. That's still an honorable number.
That was for the entire project, construction and everything. I would say no, it's not an optimal number, I think that number's changed, it's gone north. I don't think it's the 30 million that the Army Corps has, because I don't think we would do the same extent of the project in terms of the height, they were going 4 or 5 feet up. Ours are generally 2 feet higher, but what that translates to into savings, I couldn't tell you. It's yards of concrete, feet of steel, that's for the engineers to determine, but I don't think it's 17 million, but it's definitely north of 17 million at this point.
About the option to break it into two pieces.
Well, again, as
Well,
I
that's
said,
that's what
we
the
will
engineers are
design
gonna
the
do for
entire
us.
project.
We can't, I mean, we're gonna have, that's what's gonna be part of the RFP, what are those options, what are the engineers gonna say we can and can't do?
So we'll design the whole project, then the construction can be broken up into phases. Which is what we did further down on Oceanside.
Does it expedite the short-term repairs if we separate them out to RFPs?
That's not.
I'd be interested in exploring that.
Yeah, because if there's anything that we do like, to
Right.
quote unquote,
We don't
patch
need
that area,
Right, we don't
the
need
most
that
compromised
whole
area.
Design before we start.
Right. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would think not, I would think the engineering firm could take a parallel track.
Yeah.
But that's a question for Kevin and the engineers.
All right. So, I make a motion to terminate involvement in the, do I say federal cap 103?
Yeah.
Involvement in federal cap 103 and move forward to pursue authorizing our DPW to compose an RFP for the design and engineering for the repair and potentially rebuild of the Scituate seawall. Second by Mrs. Canfield. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hopefully we can get something moving quickly. Is everyone still here? All right. We are at the 8:50 discussion and vote for town council appointment. Okay, so just for the public, we put out an RFP for our town council services. I want to say, either 9 days ago or 90 days ago. We received 3 responses for that RFP. And the select board interviewed all 3 applicants last Thursday evening in the public safety building. It was a public meeting. It was recorded, so if you want to watch, you can go out and watch it on a Scituate TV channel. So we had all applicants come in, went through a variety of 5 standard questions, and then also had 3 form questions that we proposed. The 5 standard were proposed to every firm, and then we all had free form questions for each of the applicants. We also had a rating sheet in which the board has filled out to summarize everyone's opinions and findings. So I think what I'll do is I'll just read the results of the ratings and then we can discuss where we want to go. And this RFP response sheet, there were the ratings, it's not like an RFP that we're held to it, it's just a guide for us to have that discussion and to talk about who we think is the best fit moving forward for our town council service. We rated, we had 3 applicants, Myers and Harrington LLP, Clifford and Kenny LLP, along with Galvin PC, which is hybrid proposal. And then Murphy has to meet and Payne LLP, who is our current town council. From a total scoring, Myers and Harrington scored a 90, Clifford and Kenny, Galvin made 4, and Murphy had to make a 36. So I'll just open it up for discussion. I don't want to get one of those, so I don't know if anybody has. Anyone wants to start, what's that, Karen?
I'll start. I think obviously we were in a consensus that one candidate is not in the final 2. And that they just fell short compared to the other candidates. So I would suggest that we don't need to even review that particular candidate. The other 2, I think, we're very fortunate because 2 really strong proposals that offer really interesting experiences or experience to the town. With all of those kinds of things, I think that there's pros and cons for both firms. The Clifford and Kenny has the strong pro of familiarity with the town. They already represent us, and both parties represent us in different matters. And are well known to us and live down the street. That's a big pro.
Big pro.
Big pro. Yeah, that's definitely, from there, they're great.
Yep.
To me, I don't even know how to say, is it Yars? And Harrington, let's go with Harrington. Harrington and Mr. Bertram, who's there, who proposed as their lead. I think their huge pro is they are municipal focus. That's their thing. That's their bread and butter. Whereas, the other firm can do that for sure, but that hasn't been their primary focus for their practice. Those were the two pros for me with those two firms. On the con side, I think Clifford and Kenny have extensive experience, but I would just say they don't have as deep a bench of folks that if lots is going on. The other firm, I think, demonstrated that they've got a deeper bench of folks that have been with them a long time that are really grounded in the work that they do. So, I don't think we can make a bad choice, but that's where I was coming on pros and cons.
Well, the way I looked at it was that I agree that the third firm did not form up. But the other two, I agree on the issue of their proximity to us and their knowledge of us, clearly Clifford and Kenny, along with Bob Gallen, we know as well, they are down the street. I've heard very good things about their representation of our town as labor council, the Clifford group, and then we know as a board how important Bob Galvin has been to us in terms of the oyster issue that we've had in the past, 3-4 years. So I like that about both of them, and I did look at the fact that we have contracts with Galvin separately and Clifford separately for labor and for oysters. So that kind of led me to think that maybe Miaris and Harrington might be appropriate candidate for town council to handle matters other than those two matters, because we wouldn't be changing the status quo. And I think we are in need of a good, solid partner, or I wasn't clear. I actually went on their website. I couldn't find out who was a partner and who wasn't, but I thought Mr. Bertram presented well, and I feel as though he would be with us for the long term. And I do agree with you, they have a pretty deep bench of experienced lawyers in all the areas that we need. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. I agree with everything that has been said thus far, and there's some additional, but I'll wait for the stops. Susan?
Sure. I'll just, like we've already said, but needs to be said again. Murphy has the team that disqualified themselves, in my mind. So it's really the question and the part that I missed, Myers and Harrington, for Myers and Harrington, went back to make sure if the drivers, and I at one point or two. And I think really the deciding factor for me that the Clifford Kenny over the edge for me by 1 point was the flat fee and the ability to have those quick, easy conversations, which I think that's meaningful, and it's a big deal to have a quick email or a quick phone call and not worry about it's going to cost you $125 that 1 or 2 times someone doesn't call. But yeah, the approach, the quality of Heritage Group, I mean, it's fabulous. We're well served by item.
Yeah, I had some similar comments on Murphy, to me. They have been our counsel for a long time, but I think that it seems like they're going through changes, and they presented with attorneys that really didn't have a lot of background, like a year's experience, and I think, again, they disqualified themselves at the interview process. with not really understanding our needs. That being said, the other two were very strong and I had them basically equal. I thought, Clifford, Kenny, Galvin and Galvin, the three attorneys that showed up were incredibly strong. And I thought that we would be well served with them as our counsel. I thought they had a thoughtful approach. They liked did research and understood when our town meeting was and knew that they would be available at that time. They had a robust South Shore experience. They had a very qualified point person and a very talented bench. So even all of their people had multiple years of experience. They had a proactive approach to counseling clients, again, no phone calls, a positive team approach, and a lot of municipal experience. Similar to Myers and Harrington, qualified people, a talented bench, proactive approach. They had a very supportive approach to the town meeting. They both firms seemed to understand what we did at town meeting. And tell me what you want to do and how I will represent you. They were strategic and not reactive, which I thought was really thoughtful. The one thing, and you mentioned it a little bit, the hourly fee for Myers and Harrington was higher, significantly. So my math, and I actually called Nancy to make sure my math was correct, is it's about 25,000 additionally annually. We're paying 20, so they're equal. I rank them equal, but they're $25,000 more that we will pay annually. So I thought that was worth the conversation, because that's significant.
Is that included, is that taking into account the travel fee, Nancy, or is that excluding that?
We were looking at the overall hours that
Just
we
the
got
hours.
billed.
That's solely hours, and I should also note the travel is unknown. The only known thing is that they're an hour away, whereas the other firm is just up the street in Marshfield. So an hour away with no traffic. So-
Yeah, no, I think that's thanks for doing that math. It was difficult for me to quantify, those different, so good point. So my opinion is, I'm in the same camp with the top two Myers and Clifford, Kenny and Galvin. I really respect Clifford, Kenny and Galvin for the work they do with us today. My biggest concern was the 28 towns and 7 attorneys, and their expertise is labor counsel, and obviously Bob Land, but from a base there, I worry that it might be a stretch to take us on, so we have a lot of issues here. We seem to have a lot of issues that require a lot of town council input, and I don't doubt that they can be excellent, but I worry about their bandwidth. With just seven people where, Myers and Harrington, I believe, had, I want to say 23. Folks on staff, and what also I love about Myers and Harrington is that they require all of their associates to take part in a board in their own town. So they experience what a board and committee volunteer goes through. So I just thought that was terrific. So I also love their approach that they're here for our committees as well. That's a risk that they saw moving forward, that the more that our towns operate on a volunteer basis, God help us, we've got 30 committees and folks so graciously working for us. It was really refreshing to have them point that out for me. The travel, I think mostly it'll be Zoom, whatever, they'll come here to get to know everybody and that, and that's what I would do. So I do think it was very close, in my mind as well. They did, indicate that their strength was land use, obviously with the Galvin situation, that's his strength as well, so we get that with Kenny. Something that, I didn't think that, Clifford and Kenny really had a pulse on cyber issues, at all, whereas the other firm, clearly had already thought about it, had been involved in it, was well versed in it, at least versed. So I also made note of that. And I agree with you, Susan. I thought they were just very strategic in their approach. which I liked, and I'd also say this is the second time they've applied.
Yeah.
So they also applied back in 2017 and were one of the top contenders at that time as well. So I started to mention that as well. So they came back and applied, whereas a couple of the other firms that did that did not. So I thought that spoke a little bit as well about them. Jim and Nancy, I know this is our hire, but obviously they'd be working predominantly for you and your staff. Did you want to provide any input, give you the opportunity?
I think you basically said it all. I don't think the town would go wrong with either. The same concerns you have about the number of attorneys working for Clifford and Kenny is the same concern that I have. They have a very good, very strong labor council base. They're really town council in two other towns, whereas M&H, I'm not going there yet, has been around for decades, and their towns stay with them. And their attorneys seem to stay with them as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, they did have good longevity, as well as long term with their attorneys. Jim, did you want to time?
Yeah, I mean, I had some of the same concerns that the board had from all those firms. My main concern with M&H is really lack of coastal experience. As we know, that is a really different animal, but it is learnable. I did speak to Rockland about how the shared town council model works in Rockland. I talked to Doug Lapp. He said they haven't any problems. They've been very responsive. Everybody knows who to talk to, who to go to. There's any confusion on that. I know that was a concern that people wouldn't know which council to talk to. He said it's been very good. I reached out to 5 towns on M&H. I only got 2 back. Both very complimentary. I did ask about, I was concerned about the travel time. And I said, well, they don't travel really. It's rare that we can make them come out, even when they have a meeting, they can usually do it by Zoom. So they were very well. Their references were excellent. The towns they work with are very happy with them that I heard back from. The towns that work with Galvin and Clifford are very happy with them. I have concerns with both of them that none of them are insurmountable. They both have a little bit of homework to do to catch up on what we do here. I like the South Shore focus, but I don't think that's insurmountable. So as Nancy said, I don't think we can go wrong with either one. One is a little more expensive, actually a lot more expensive. Factor in Clifford and Kenny, Galvin's $500 a month, call us anytime. We do use that quite a bit with our labor council with Clifford and Kenny. But real good attorneys. One of the attorneys actually complimented one of the attorneys in the other firm. Said Meyer knows the attorneys at Myers and Harrington, they were really good attorneys and they were doing a good job. So I don't think the board can go wrong. I'm happy with either one.
Yeah, we appreciate the professionals of them as well, and all the work that they do for us today as well. Any additional comments or discussion, anything further?
Well, I just want to clarify, so Jim, would you be satisfied with staying on with Clifford and Kenny as labor council and with Todd, especially in relation to the oysters?
Yeah, I wouldn't change that. That wasn't part of the RFP anyway,
Right.
so I wouldn't change that. And hate to say, but if we get stuck in a place where we don't know, we have special counsel to get hired. So if we had a maritime issue, we can hire a special counsel that MH could handle something else. So again,
Which I think maritime law is kind of a real specialty thing, so.
yeah, not so much maritime law, but we do have a lot of issues with the harbor master.
But maritime law.
Maritime,
is a different
yeah,
thing
it's a
than
completely different.
coastal and, yeah.
Coastal
You know,
stuff.
the other
would be-
firm. Yeah, I don't, yeah.
All right,
So the cost that we have, and I'm assuming, because if we did the $500 LSMA time, it could get it could be a lot more expensive. Myers and Harrington. More than 25, 30,000 a year, right?
No, the delta would shrink if they didn't do the 500.
Oh, I got you, like, what,
No,
how much would you
I'm
use it?
saying,
Right.
I only did their hourly rate. based on how many hours we use.
Oh,
I didn't factor in that 500 calling anytime.
I don't think that applies to that, isn't that?
It doesn't, but it would reduce the Clifford and Kenny potentially billable hours, so.
I'm sorry, to interrupt you. I don't know, they had said something during their interview. It wasn't clear if they would do that in additional to what we're already paying for labor council, which is $450, or if it would be 500 to cover both labor and town. And I don't know how that applies to Bob Galvin. Is it just Clifford and Kenny that we can call, or is it also Bob Galvin? I was a little unclear on that.
I don't know the answer to that.
question just on, so just process. Maybe we recommend, we vote, we pick one of them to be town council. Then the next step is you're gonna negotiate the contract, correct?
Based on the RFP, correct?
Based on the RFP, right? So, okay.
I hear where you're going. Do you have any recourse during that negotiation, or is it all just based on the RFP?
They proposed the rate.
They proposed a rate, so I don't
Yeah.
think we can go back to Myers and Harrigan and say, we do a flat rate phone call thing, because it wasn't part of it. But we can ask for all that.
And we didn't ask for it, or they just offered it.
Okay, I was just curious what your flexibility was there.
In my understanding, Cliff and Kenny, the 550 would be for both labor and general, but I don't know if it applied to Bob Galvin. So it'll be 550 a month for calls for either one, not 550 for general, 550 for labor.
Yeah,
That was my impression. I
that was
can
my
double check
impression
that.
too.
But whether that would apply to Bob Galvin or not, I don't know. Having worked with Bob a lot of years, you don't see 15-minute bill. You don't see a phone call with you in 15 minutes, shows up in the bill. That's just experience as opposed to what's in their RFP.
Well, that's an unknown. That's an unknown. My impression from the Harrington proposal or interview was that they're professional, they're efficient, they're not gonna waste their time. So I was less, that was on my cons, was they're more expensive. But, I think we have to see how it plays out too.
Yeah, and I didn't get the sense that they were like a huge, big firm, right? House that's gonna just nickel and dime us. I didn't get that sense, but that's just a feeling, right? I don't have.
Yeah, I'm just going by the numbers on the
Right.
paper, not. That's all I have.
Yeah, no, it's
I have the numbers. paper.
significant.
What term did we put on the RFP? Did we put a 3-year or 2-year, or was that up?
It's an annual appointment by annual.
Annual.
Okay. All right, so it's an annual appointment.
Okay, that's especially for changing council.
Yeah, it makes sense to
Makes
do that.
sense to review it after a year.
Right. So we have that option as well. But if somebody wants to make a motion, I mean, I think, it doesn't have to be unanimous, so, vote where you need to go, but, I think we've heard, is there any other discussion that you want to add?
No, they're great. We're charging between
Two really good firms.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you like to? Sure, I'll take a motion.
I will move that the town of Scituate appoint Myers and Harrington as their town council.
Moved by Mrs. Canfield, second by Mrs. Connolly. Any further discussion? Yes, Nancy?
Sorry, was that too aggressive? One, the date, and two, you already appointed the other firm for the year, so I think you have to rescind their appointment as of the date you're going to appoint the new firm, which in the RFP was 1/1/24.
Okay.
What was the date?
1/1/24.
January 1st.
Oh, 2024.
Come on with numbers.
I'd like to retract my motion and put that in a new one. Anyway, move that the select board of the town of Scituate rescinds the contract to Murphy Heston in my name as town council and appoint Myers and Harrington as town council effective January 1st, 2020.
Second by Mrs. Connolly. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed?
Oh, I'm in favor, but they're definitely my second choice based so we'll see how it goes.
So you're a yes.
Yeah, I'm a yes, but they're not saying. They do put an
Yes, with an asterisk. Put an asterisk next to me, I told you so.
I do. And I'd just like to go on record that we've been well represented by TUI, but they just say, well, so I just want to start with TUI. Say it right. By Murphy has TUI and Lahane, for many, many years. So I just, thank them for the representation and, wish them well. Good job. Right. All right, where are we next? Let's see, we are at all-day alcohol liquor license. So we have one here, for the voyage for, this is going to be the host at the Veterans Day at the Senior Center. So it's going to be taking place at the Senior Center from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a 5 minute for Veterans Day. They do that every year. They make a wonderful meal. So this is actually for their one-day all alcohol liquor license. So, does anybody want to make a motion? You want me to speak? But
Move to approve a one-day all alcohol liquor license to the Voyage, 114 Marshville Ave, Pomeroy, on behalf of Scituate American Museum Post, 144, non-profit. For private event at the Scituate Senior Center on November 11th, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
moved by Mr. Goodrich. Second by Ms. Harrison. All in favor? Aye.
May I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Are veterans invited, don't they invite all veterans in the town?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's a private event, so it sounds like.
Private,
Just to clarify that,
well, maybe because it's the BFW that does it.
yeah,
It's not.
but if they do invite all the veterans.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You went last year.
I did.
Yeah.
It was the year before, too.
Yeah, it's great.
Very patriotic.
It does sell out, so
Yeah.
if I'm interested.
I have to see, and actually I was glad to see this motion, because I wasn't sure if they were gonna do it on Friday or Saturday, so this helps me plan when it needs to be on. Okay, so, I have a motion to, accept the minutes for the select board meeting held on October 10th. Moved by Ms. Connolly, second by Mr. Goodrich, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And let's see, I think that's it. Any liaison reports? Susan, anything? Start this way.
Okay, well, we do have a waterways committee meeting next week and Jim's gonna present.
What have you presented, Jen?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Just a reminder.
They
Parking
talking
lot, that's the-
about the
Oh, we're
parking
talking
lot.
about the maritime parking lot,
Okay, good.
and plan for DPW to attend to that.
Okay, good.
Next time, numerous.
Yeah, it's funny, they're all in 1 week or.
Yeah.
Or it's feast or famine out here. Karen?
Cold Marco was here tonight, so.
Congratulations, thank you.
They've been great.
Karen?
Not a ton, I just, BDC met last, well, 2 meetings last night, BDC met last night. They have, invited the community leaders, is what they're calling them, the folks that were involved with this, if it was or something, to come in-house and then, work with the EDC on coordinating promotion and communication between the different, and mostly boards and committees. And so that has been very well received. And the bike committee, got to meet with them, they had their second meeting last night. They're awesome and they're up and running. One thing I just wanted to mention that will be, I think we need to all put on our radar is as we, they're gonna develop what the recommendations are, they're gonna go through their process. But one thing that jumped out right away is we're gonna need to think about what our how we approach striking and road signs and things like that, because, doing it the old way doesn't work to accommodate multi-use streets, and there's no reason we can't. So they're gonna work on doing the homework to present that, but as when we start to, have a paving schedule put together, it's gonna come before us about, okay, do we want to start thinking about accommodating more safe passages for, non-vehicular traffic on streets that make sense?
I was gonna say that they,
A lot of
have to get an inventory on the streets where.
That's their first step. They're doing inventory, they're gonna identify some pathways that make sense, and I use pathways in the sense of how to get around town. That makes sense to facilitate moving around town. Then they'll do an inventory of what, they're considering actually trying to get the funding to do a feasibility study so that an engineer can look at those things. But I just want in the back of our minds to be not thinking bold about, yep, just put a strike in the middle. That may not be the right solution going forward, if we're gonna make a commitment. So down the road, but it was a really interesting conversation.
All right. I don't think, just update MSBA, they're still looking at design. So the school, MSBA, group, spent a lot of time going through 2 top designs. Thank you to Nancy, we threw out one design, she reminded everybody that we'd already thrown it out, that they wanted to keep talking about it.
They're the same price?
Yes, they're all the same price, they're all within that budget, right now.
Curious.
Yes, no, they are, so the next meeting is, it's next week, no, it's probably next week, it's in each week, so they're moving along with the design piece, and they've got their ballot question committee organized, and they're starting to put together their information as well. And Affordable Housing Trust, we have Habitat for Humanity come in and give presentations, so just to, start looking at other ways in which we can move the needle a little bit, even further. And then we did meet today with Mike Cucciara from America, who worked with us in the past. So Jim and I will put together some information for you so we can talk about it publicly, but just to kind of start the process. So starting to look at what to do with the Gates property. He had some thoughts and ideas for us to consider. So we'll put that on our upcoming agenda so we can, great, yeah. That's good. So that's all I have. Anything else? All right, with that, I'll take a motion to, do we have any correspondence?
I didn't get any.
I was
Nothing in the
okay, slowly, okay. All right.
I just give one quick update. We met in the lighthouse this morning, so we are on track for the first week in November.
Oh,
We'll be lifting the landlord back onto the structure. So,
You send us a text when that's happening, or an email, or?
yeah, we're not gonna send out a blast,
No, I
we
need to
know,
blast,
we'll let
but
the
we-
board know when it's coming, but right now, they're gonna finish doing as much as the cop as they can on the ground. Still a lot of work once it goes up there, but that'll be something a lot of people want to see, that just to get that back up on the top.
Do you have a sense of the timing of, from the time it gets back on off
End of
to
the month. End of the month.
what was the
end of-
question? When it's gonna light?
End of November.
He answered the question before.
End of November, they're hoping to be substantially complete with most of it, as I've said more than before. Probably not gonna get painted now for the spring, but we may just do a coat because the new bricks will be red, so just paint those white.
So in theory, it could be lit up when Santa comes in and the
In theory.
in theory, just saying.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, who's gonna turn it on?
Who's gonna flip the switch?
Who's gonna flip the switch?
That has been being coordinated with the
Lighthouse keeper?
Historic Society.
Yep.
Really, the question is gonna be, we're gonna do it in the middle of December, or do we wanna wait for the spring when we can have a whole event, so.
Well, no.
I think you have to turn it on.
You
know what else, and like-
I'll talk to,
Navigation issue?
Well,
I know it's not a navigation
it's a,
line, but
it's a
still.
private aid to navigation. It's not actually a navigation aid, we will have to let the Coast Guard know if it's started back on.
Hey, we told them.
People still use it.
Right on the.
I'll find out, but it'll be nice to see that. It's gonna take the copper guy, I think, 2 years to get it done, because everybody stops. And wants to talk to him while he's working. He actually has dog biscuits for all the dogs that come
Well, we
by.
should put like why doesn't he put like a
It's
tent
getting
around it?
It's really,
For some privacy.
it's really a tourist attraction at this point.
Yeah, it's okay.
People stop, so, but it'll be good to see that come back up.
Good weather this week, so that's good. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Quick question, is that something we could have Seth videotape, like get the questions up?
He videotaped it coming down,
Right,
so he'll videotape it, go back up.
but also I'm thinking the questions, like, could the person who's doing the copper sort of give all the questions he's being asked and answered it, so then it could be on the channel?
I would say he would say no to that.
Okay,
He's just up there trying to get his,
okay.
so,
No, he already knows the questions. To your point.
we can answer all those questions. The big question is it gonna be that color when I go back up? Yeah, it's gonna be shiny when it goes back up and then double. I said that.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
And sign up.
And to sign documents, moved by Mr. Goodrich, second by Ms. Canfield, all in favor?
Aye.